This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. Alright, well, I'm trying a new camera here. Checking it out. Got a new camera. I tried to mess around with the audio driver. I don't know if I thought I could still hear some clipping or something a minute ago, so we'll see how it works, but the audio does sound better. Yeah, and by the way, when you making a thumbnail isn't posting photos, okay? You're just making a thumbnail. It's an image that you load up to represent your video. When you're posting photos, you're putting a bunch of photos out somewhere for people to look at. Okay, it's a big difference. So when you say something like that, it's like, what? I'm like, where did I post pictures? Because I didn't post any photos anywhere. All right, it's just making a thumbnail is a totally different thing. It's not so. Oh yeah, Keith. All right. Well, probably be your last too, huh? Yeah, probably be your last as well. Yep. How's it going? How's it going? Spent a lot of the day just trying to get the damn, I don't know, just trying to find like the driver that's supposed to work. It seems like it's better. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. Alright, cool. Hey, Ebony, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so we're just going to go over the case a little bit later, and if the numbers up on the screen aren't good, but at the time, if you want to call in or something about it, let me know. But I'm just going to go through the newspaper articles and whatnot from back then. And also, I hope everybody can help support the channel tonight. We really struggled about 2 or 3 days in a row there. So thank you very much. Think of me as a cup of coffee, or actually a couple drinks, something. I'm spending 3 to 4 hours doing a show, so yeah, it looks like it's this camera's one I've had. I just didn't use it for the show. Also, I'm streaming at a constant 1080p, where before YouTube could decide at what it wanted to do. So I got rid of that. So now it's just streaming at 1080p. Not that you want to have it be clear on my face, sometimes it's beneficial to be blurry. Thanks, Ria Mazzarone. Thank you very much. Yeah, and so, a lot of people, when you're covering cases, there's people that come in, they go, oh my God, you're making money. My channel raises funds that helps me keep doing the show every single night, and I donate a ton of money to charity, okay? So I always hate when people put comments in when they don't know what they're talking about. Like, we've already donated $23,790 this year, 42 last year, and 22 the year before that. All right, so quit your bitchin', as the name goes. Thanks, Boggle Queen. Oh, is that a local one? Yeah. It's crazy because it's not really in the newspaper at all back then. There's no newspaper articles whatsoever of Patricia Patricia's case. Thank you, Kathy Freidenmaker.
The Patricia Stickler case is local to me. We were all shocked today.
Yeah. Quitty or bit. Oh, quit your. I was like, what? What the hell are you typing in? Yeah. No, there was none, man. I didn't find any on newspapers.com. I couldn't find her name one time mentioned. You know, maybe it's in some private. Maybe they don't publish on newspapers.com, but I couldn't find one reference to her name at any point. Yeah, kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean, we could. Let me go try. Hold on. Just for the hell of it, let me get my music playing again. Yeah, I'm just gonna go on here. Newspaper, Toledo. Yeah, it doesn't even have, maybe this one, I don't know. It doesn't even really have any, you know, you type in Ohio for newspapers and there's like, yeah. I just didn't find anything. It doesn't even matter what newspaper. If you just type her name in up here, Patricia, or Patty, and then Stichler, put it in there, and even with no date or anything, you put it in there. Like for example, and you hit the button. There isn't even any, like this thing here is Pennsylvania, 1951. You know, Vancouver, Washington, one. This one's in 33 in Pennsylvania, so it's just not really there. Yeah, well, it's too bad they must not have signed up on newspapers.com, nor does the other site that I use have anything on it. So it's kind of ridiculous, but it just is what it is. You know, apparently she lived right over here on this street right here. Yeah, it's not Volleyball Queen. I know how to do what I'm doing. All right, so I'm gonna go back. There is something, you know, online articles from like 2012, and I've used this website many times. The website that actually is Ohio Cold Cases. We went through a bunch of those, and I remember seeing her face on there, but I probably didn't cover it because there was almost no. You know, I look it up to see if there's anything I can find that are from way back then, and there wasn't. So, Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine, and you know, he's a cool dude. I know him. I've seen him on. I don't know him personally, but I mean, I've seen him on TV many times. Announced a new plan on Thursday to focus more attention on Ohio unsolved homicides. The effort includes listing every Ohio cold case murder on the Attorney General's website. So that's why it was an interesting site. As well as offering law enforcement agencies free expert services from the Attorney General's Bureau of Criminal Investigation. Among the cases currently featured by the Attorney General's office is the murder of a woman found by her 11-year-old daughter stabbed to death. Authorities with the Sylvania Police Department believe Patricia Patty Stickler, who was 30 at the time, and struggled violently during an attack in her bedroom on January 2nd, 1985. The girl found her mother's bloody and mostly nude body in their home's master bedroom, which was right next to the room where the girl and her two sisters were sleeping. The girl was found her mother's bloody and mostly nude body in their home's master bedroom. Huh. I didn't wake up the other kids. According to FBI statistics, there are 5,153 unsolved homicide cases in Ohio. Isn't that crazy? That's why you'd never run out of material, because that's just Ohio with 5,153, right? I mean, you could literally cover, people just pick the really popular ones, but, you could sit there and just cover so many that could help in some way. The Ohio Attorney General's Office Unsolved Homicides webpage currently features 166 of those unresolved cases. Listing a cold case on the Attorney General's website is voluntary for law enforcement. So anyways, that just kind of was just briefly mentioning that one. And then 2015, this is the, I think this is the actual website that has all the listings on it. They were actually listed in a way where they were all numbered. I mean, it was crazy. That's where I found Beitelman, on that website. So this just says, in the early morning hours of January 2nd, 1985, the victim's 11-year-old daughter awoke and discovered her mother's bloody body in the master bedroom. The 30-year-old victim's mostly new body was found by responding units on the floor of her bedroom with numerous stab wounds. It appeared the victim struggled violently during the assault and most likely woke up the 11-year-old daughter. There were 3 young children sleeping in the bedroom next to the master bedroom during the assault. The victim was divorced and resided with her 3 daughters. She had worked for 21st Century Health Spas for over 7 years, but not at the time of her death. The victim had a New Year's Eve party that was attended by 20 or more people, and we've heard of other cases just like that, a day before her death. There were no signs of forced entry to any door, but there were knife cuts to a shower curtain and window covering in the bathroom where a window was found open. So you'd think, oh, she was married. Oh, okay, divorce, because that's usually the first thing that you think of. And then here we go. So they just solved this one. Identification of suspect in Sylvania cold case homicide ends decades of mystery. He definitely doesn't look like the typical, I don't know if there's an actual look, but I mean, when you look at him, he sort of just looks like a goody two-shoes, Nearly 40 years after her mother was murdered, Kirsten Kelly does not feel justice even after police finally identified the suspect using forensic genealogy, which is FGG, Forensic Genetic Genealogy. On January 2nd, 1985, Patricia Stickler was murdered in her Sylvania home while her daughter slept in the next room. The Sylvania Police Department announced Wednesday that they had identified Michael Mellis, a 17-year-old neighbor, as the primary suspect. So he would be 54 now. However, when you go to Ben Verified, he died right there. So Michael Jeffrey Mellis, born 1967. He died in 1989. So, there must have been some karmic justice way back then. But Miss Stickler was found dead in her home. Yeah, let's see. So Mr. Mills died 4 years after the murder in a car crash in North Carolina. Hopefully it was painful, like he didn't quite die right away and he was sitting there for a while. The day Mom died, Miss Kelly was just 9 years old when her mother was killed. Her sister Andrea and Alice were 11 and 5. Andrea was the one who found their mother's body bloodied and lifeless on the floor in her bedroom. Elise was too young when it happened to remember much at all, Miss Kelly said, but Andrea is still traumatized to this day. Let's see. Miss Kelly remembers the day my mother died in vivid detail. We went to bed, and the next thing I know, I wake up, and there's police officers walking down my hallway, standing in my bathroom, she said. No one's speaking to me or telling me what's going on. I tried to get out of bed to find out what's happening, and my sister Andrea approaches me and is trying to protect me and keep me away from trying to find Mom. Shortly afterward, police took the girls out of the house. They once called home and brought them to the neighbors to wait. I don't know what that means. Ironically, Mrs. Kelly said they ended up waiting at the house right next door to where Mr. Mellis lived. Wow, how weird is that, huh? The girl's grandmother came to pick them up. So I don't have the exact address because when you look up her name, It has a P.O. box there, but somewhere on this street in this little, like, just right in this area. I don't know which one. I'm sure the house is still originally there. If anybody can go on to maybe Ancestry and pull that out, that'd be good. Shortly afterward, police took the girls out of the house. Okay, so I remember very vividly one tear streaming down his cheek when he picked up Miss Kelly said. Let's see. The girl's grandfather came to pick them up. Okay, he had one tear coming down. I didn't understand. I was a little girl. Miss Kelly's family didn't tell her what happened to her mother. They just said she died. She found out her mom was murdered from a newspaper headline days later. Well, one that doesn't show up in newspapers.com. They had lied, quite honestly, but I think that was because they didn't want to say, Mrs. Kelly recalled. How do you tell a little girl that someone brutally murdered her mother and not scare the hell out of her? The kids moved in with their grandparents for about a month while their father tried to secure a place large enough to house them all. The thing I remember the most is absolute loss of security and happiness and my sense of peace in the world. Mrs. Kelly said, I was scared and afraid and uncomfortable and just lost. I didn't understand what just happened in my life, and I remember feeling like that for a very long time. Hey, Amber Maiden, thank you. She said, let's get a freak wave going. Boy, wouldn't that be great? Thank you. It took more than 2 years for the police to connect the trail of DNA from a sample found at the crime scene. Let's see, it took more than 2 years for the police to connect the trail of DNA from a sample.
Let's get a freak
Okay, so once they found...
Ocean wave.
Thank you, Being Nancy. Awesome. So I guess that means once they discovered the DNA, it took 2 years. Biological mother had given him up for adoption. Let's see. It took more than 2 years for police to connect the trail of DNA from a sample found at the crime scene to Mr. Mellis. Oh, that's crazy. So to his biological mother, who had given him up for adoption. Wow, that's crazy. That's one of the hardest things to do when there's an adoption in there. Yeah. Thanks, Being Nancy, for jumping on the wave. Let's see. So, my biological mother, who had given up for adoption, Sylvania Police Captain Danny Lynn Miller said, after uploading the DNA to Advanced DNA Database, probably GEDmatch or Family Tree DNA in early 2020, it wasn't until 2021 that they got their first match, an elderly woman in California. The woman was connected so distantly to Mr. Mellis, his mother, that she could barely be considered a cousin, but a match was still there. One of the women's children, but probably like really low centimorgans, like 100 or something, was still there. One of the women's children had taken a commercial ancestry test logging their own family DNA into the database. When Sylvania police contacted the woman in California, she agreed to provide her own DNA as a starting point for the genealogy tracing. And thanks, Amber, for attempting. I appreciate it. And starting point for the genealogy tracing. Wow, that's crazy. When you have such a low ancestor like that, it's hard to do. But, I mean, 2 years, it could take that long. Without her as a launching platform, a lot of this wouldn't have been possible. There were quite a few people that stopped forward and volunteered their DNA to work us down to where we finally were able to locate the biological mother. Over the course of more than a year, the police department individually tracked down and interviewed more than 20 biological connections and on their pathway to Mr. Mellis's mother. With each new connection, they would have to evaluate if the DNA match was stronger or weaker to determine if they were going on the right limb of the family tree. Most people that we talked to, once we explained what we were doing and why we were doing it, were just thrilled to be able to help us. However, the Sylvania police often had to enlist the help of other local law enforcement agencies around the country to physically send detectives to some distant relatives' homes. Because the suspect had been dead for more than 3 decades, Captain Miller said that they can't pursue a criminal trial. At this point, they're just seeking closure for the victim's family. We have the who, which was always the question. Who did this? Well, now we can answer the who, Captain Miller said. Will we ever be able to answer the why? We don't know. At the time of the murder, Sylvania Police Department could identify no suspects even after a thorough investigation that involved running down more than 100 tips and 65 interviews. At the time, police believe Mrs. Stickler was killed by someone she knew. They found no murder weapon, but they did find a sheath for a knife at the scene. That crime scene evidence has been sitting in the police department's property room all these years. Then in 1998, the department reopened the case with 2 full-time detectives working for an entire year, poring over every detail of the crime. That was when they found an unknown man's DNA in the evidence. Still, investigators couldn't identify a suspect. They tested more than a dozen people that knew Miss Stickler at the time, including her ex-husband and boyfriend. See, of course they're going to look at the ex-husband there. Back then they looked at what they thought was the most reasonable suspect and followed that. And in no time would they have ever any reason to believe that it was a 17-year-old that lived down the street. Yeah, that would have been really tough, especially, a 17-year-old kid, you wouldn't have thought that at all, such a brutal crime like that. But with recent advancements in forensic genealogy, Sylvania police reopened the case once again in 2019, working with Advanced DNA, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation's Forensic Lab, and the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office to solve the homicide. Police eventually identified the DNA as that of Mr. Mellis. Investigators also gained information that placed Mr. Mellis less than 100 feet from the victim's home within an hour of the time police got the call. Wow. There was no way to connect one to the other, Captain Miller said. It was a pure stranger situation. Captain Miller said the police had discussed the case with the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office, and that if the suspect had been alive, the DNA evidence would have been enough to pursue criminal prosecution. But because there's no surviving suspect, they're just pursuing closure for the Stickler family. I think they should change that law. I mean, I know people get to, well, I don't know. Because you got to be able to face your accusers and have a defense, so it's hard to just start. I mean, it's obvious, right? That's why you put it out in the paper. There was no way to connect one to the other, Captain Miller said. Captain Miller said the police have discussed the case with the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office, and if they had been alive, they would have prosecuted him. I just want anyone who can come forward with anything about Michael. I think he might be, good for some other murders, especially when you're doing something like that at 17. You might want to check where he was in those 4 years that he lived. I mean, thank God there was a car accident. That guy probably would have killed a lot of people. Did they know him? Did they know him as a child? Anything that can help us understand why he did it, Mrs. Kelly said.
First at 6 tonight, a break in the 1985 homicide case of Patricia Stickler. Through new DNA technology, Sylvania police have just announced a suspect in the murder.
Yeah, the suspect, Michael Mellis, was 17 years old at the time and lived in the same neighborhood as Stickler and her 3 kids. NBC 24's Sutton Donovan joining us live now. And Sutton, you spoke with Sylvania police and one of Stickler's daughters to learn what this new information means to them.
Aaron, Juliana, both the police and Stichler's daughter said the case is not closed despite finding the suspect, and said now they're asking the community for their help. Kirsten Kelly was 9 years old on January 2nd, 1985, when her mother, Patricia Stickler, was murdered. Now, 37 years later, the person who killed Stichler has been identified.
Pretty much my entire life, I have been investigating my own mother's case.
I know this has always been talked about as being a cold case. It's never been a cold case for us. We've always considered it active.
Through the use of new DNA technology, Sylvania police were able to use evidence that was found at the crime scene back in 1985 to connect the dots of people related to that DNA, putting together a family tree that could be traced to find the unidentified suspect.
And we were able to find someone out in California that had a relationship via DNA with this sample. And through extensive tracking, we were able to track everything back.
The DNA led to Michael Mellis, a 17-year-old high school student in 1985 who lived 6 houses down from Stichler. In 1989, Mellis died in a car accident. While no prosecution can take place, for Kelly, a sense of peace has come about her, knowing who it is and knowing they can't hurt her family anymore.
I spent years looking in closets and under beds and things just to go to sleep. And I'm not doing any of that anymore. So yes, but the wondering too of, is he out there? Is he gonna come after us again? Is he in our own friend group? Is he watching us? Like, that part is very difficult, and I'm very glad to have that gone.
While the identity has been determined, the case is not yet solved. For Kelly and Sylvania police, this is just the beginning of continuing to find answers.
We want people that may have known him or been around at this time. This may jar some memories for them that, hey, I didn't think it was important, but now I know it is important.
But until those answers come, Kelly and her family will continue to remember their mom in the way they knew her best, a fun and loving spirit.
It's like
That's a weird picture.
Lives on in
I was confused what I was looking at there.
A fun and loving spirit.
It's like her legacy lives on.
There you go, jazzercise, just like you were saying.
Realize that we inherited her vivacious, outgoing aspects of her personality.
Yeah. Wow, that's nuts. Yeah, so I wasn't able to find where the killer lived or where she lived, but it's just right here on the 5,000 block. So probably right in this area right here. So, good news. Genetic genealogy did it, and that's what we have a fund built up because of you guys, and that's why I would like it if we could have kept going doing what we were doing, because it also helps me keep doing the shows. But we have a DNA fund built up where some of that. We have one case that we're actually testing a cigarette butt in a murder case, and that one is still in progress, and then 2 others are completely funded. We're just waiting. I think we're actually looking to do one too, like there's money sitting there for that. Yeah, I don't know, maybe he thought probably thought she was hot, but he's a psycho, like I don't know, it's just really hard to even understand how somebody could be like that, It's crazy. Hey, thanks, Boston actress. You too. She's an actual actress. I don't think she rejected him. He was 17 years old. He went over there because I think if he hadn't have died 4 years later, he probably would have killed. I bet he was a serial killer-like person. So thank God he got killed in a car accident. I mean, that sounds crazy, but I think anybody that's capable of doing that, going in and stabbing an unknown person over and over and over again, sexually assaulting them, murdering them, and then just blending right back in where you're not even a suspect. That means you're way past the killing animal phase. You're already at 17 years old into already killing somebody. So this person might have been, you know, a horrendous killer. You know, like, who knows what he would have done. And also thank you to Christine Babcock and the Velvet Army. Thank you very much. And earlier, Paulette Leonard. She was just testing out to see what was wrong with her PayPal and sent one over. All right, now I'm going to switch over to the Jade Winston case. And I got this off of the Faces. There's like a website that has, it's a database of cold cases. And I just saw her face and, you know, I don't know. I just looked at her face and said, I want to look at that one. You know, that was it. I mean, there was no rhyme or reason other than that, because there's so many on there. Why not pick anybody? So, her name is Jade Winston. She actually has another, I think a brother that was killed too, that's sort of suspicious. Right around the same, like 2 days later. I mean, it was pretty crazy. So, we're just going to go over this from, you know, through the newspaper articles, and that's it. You know, see what we come up with, what we think may have happened. Thank you, Titanic Kid. Alright, so here we go. We're going back to, this is 2007, August 19th. I'm sure these are on the internet too, but I'm just going through. I like using newspapers.com for some reason. You can kind of narrow it down better. All right, so here we go. This is at the 41-minute mark, maybe 40 minutes. The body of Jade Winston, 18, was found at 10:54 p.m. Friday at a residence in Carrier Mills, a Saline County dispatcher said Saturday night. So this would be, yeah, let's just get in the right area here right off the bat. Let me know if you hear the audio pop at all again, because it's been pretty good, pretty stable tonight, I thought. So, Carrier Mills, Illinois. So let's just put a pin here to start off with. Sheriff deputies and Carrier Mills police were dispatched to a residence shortly after receiving a 911 call, police said. Winston's body was discovered at the residence. WSIL Channel 3 reported that Winston's family said she died from a gunshot wound at an apartment at the intersection, there we go, West Russell and Mill Street. So there we go, West Russell. Okay. So that's Russell and that's North Mill. Should be West Mill though, right? Wait, was it West Russell and Mill Streets? So that's North Mill. I don't know if that counts, but I think that's correct.
Thanks for covering
cool.
Jade's case. Her half-sister is my best friend and with us tonight.
Interesting.
Thanks for all you do, Grant.
Well, maybe she can call in when we're at the very end. I'll get the numbers going if she feels like it. If not, that's okay too. So I guess it must have been right around in this area. I don't know. It could be like maybe that's an apartment. I don't really know. It's hard to tell Unless there's a different Russell Street and a different Mill Street in here. I mean, there's Russell, so I don't know if there would be another Russell Street. That's basically it right here. So if they said it was a the intersection on an apartment at the intersection of West Russell and Mill Street. So apparently it's supposed to be right here, so I'll just put down a apartment somewhere around in here. Thanks, Dan. Look at that. Is that a sarcastic face? Let's see. Okay, residence, and then it was at... she died from a gunshot wound at an apartment at the intersection of West Russell and Mill Streets in Carrier Mills. Police would not say whether they suspected foul play in the teen's death, so they must have found the gun near her to not say that. So there must have been a gun lying near her for them not to be sure yet at that point. They weren't sure if it was a homicide. An employee at the Harrisburg Arby's restaurant where Winston worked said she could not release any information about Winston. So let's see, Arby's. Never know. Arby's in Harrisburg. So it's not far away. Right here. Probably. Thanks, Teresa Ann. Arby's right there. It's looks like probably you know, about 7-mile drive, maybe something like that. Okay, and so the RB restaurant where Winston works said she could not release any information about Winston. Friends and family of the teen gathered Saturday night in Carrier Mills. Saline County Coroner Randy Reed said Saturday night that his office would not be able to provide further details until the autopsy is complete. The Sheriff's Department, the Illinois State Police, the Carrier Mills Police Department, and the County Coroner's Office are continuing to investigate Winston's death. So that was the first article that I could find. Then literally just like the next day, strangely, a Carrier Mills family still reeling from the death of an 18-year-old daughter now must also make arrangements for a son's funeral. Jade Winston's body was found late Friday night in Carrier Mills' residence. Her half-brother, 22-year-old Jerome Mitchell, was killed in a weekend traffic accident in Harrisburg. So that's the same town of the Arby's. And maybe that's where she actually lived. Maybe Jade lived in Harrisburg. I don't know. The Harrisburg Police Department could not be reached for details on the accident that killed Mitchell. Deputy Coroner Tracy Felty, who is also a Saline County deputy, could not be reached Sunday night. A dispatcher said a press release would be issued today. Reed Funeral Home in Harrisburg confirmed late Sunday it will be handling funeral arrangements for both Jade Winston and Jerome Mitchell. Saline County State Attorney David Nelson told the Southern Sunday he had not seen any written reports from law enforcement agencies investigating the death of Jade Winston. The prosecutor said also that a cause of death, let's see, where was that? A cause of death had not yet been determined. Saline County Coroner Randy Reed said Saturday night his office would not be able to provide further details until an autopsy had been completed. Sheriff deputies and Carrier Mills police were dispatched to a Carrier Mills residence shortly before 11 p.m. Friday after receiving a 911 call. Neither of those agencies had new case information on Sunday. Earlier, media reports said Winston's family said she died from a gunshot wound at an apartment at the intersection of West Russell and Mills Street. Police would not say whether they suspected foul play in the teen's death or if they were investigating it as a homicide. Alright. So that was on the 20th. So when August 19th was the first one. August 20th is the article about the brother. So both of them died within, I think, 1 day of each other, actually. Maybe 1 or 2 at the most. So this is 2007, August 21st. Let's see. An autopsy report was revealed that an 18-year-old Carrier Mills girl died from a single gunshot wound to the head late Friday night. So now they know that she was shot with a single, one single gunshot wound. The thing is the gun must have been found at the scene, because if there's no gun and you get shot in the head, it's a homicide. I mean, it's immediately known to be a homicide. You wouldn't go, well, it's a suicide. I mean, it's the way it is. Saline County State's Attorney David Nelson said through a press release Monday that an investigation continues into the death of Jade Winston. Both Sheriff's Department and Carrier Mills police officers responded to a 911 call shortly before 11 p.m. Friday at, okay, now we got the address, at 714 North Mill Street. I think it's going to be right next to that pin. And there it is, right there. Okay, so this is where the police went. And if you go down to Street View here, this is Street View from 2013. So probably right in here, that house, I would imagine. That's just an undercovered area where the pin was. So it was in that house right there. Investigators with the state police, sheriff's department, Carrier Mills Police Department, coroner's office, and state attorney's office have not yet concluded whether the death was an accident, suicide, or homicide. Rumors have circulated throughout the community that the death is a homicide and that other area teens are responsible for Winston's death, but there has been no confirmation of such rumors by local authorities. Carrier Mills School, I don't know if this is, okay, and I think does it continue over here? Yeah, Superintendent Richard Morgan said you can't help but come to know all the kids in a school. I don't know if this is the same. Yeah, there it is. So that's him knowing her. So it looks like there's a Jerome, the brother, is remembered also here. Carrier Mills School Superintendent Richard Morgan said you can't help but come to know all the kids in a school with an enrollment of 160. Jade was a great kid, very energetic, happy, friendly, and always smiling. She played volleyball and softball, was a cheerleader and a member of the dance team, and was involved in some clubs too. Today's been a pretty tough day, to say the least. Physical education instructor Andrea Wargel, who also coaches volleyball. Is there more over here? Oh, yeah, volleyball at the school, said Winston will be sorely missed. Jay didn't know a stranger. She didn't hang with certain cliques. She was friends with everybody. We'd be at a volleyball game and Jade would be over talking with girls from the other team. That's exactly how I was. I wasn't one of the cool, like the right there with the cool clique all day. Just talk to whoever, There's all kinds of people out there, everybody. Wargel said Winston played 2 years of varsity volleyball as setter and was a great server. In softball, outfield, and was often used as a pinch runner. Whenever she smiled, your day became better. So she sounds like one of those people, like, if she was just in the room, she made it better. Why today has been so tough here at school. We've all been talking about Jade and what she meant to us. Terry Austin was Winston's cheerleading coach. She described the senior as a spirited and loving person and someone that everybody loved. Austin said Winston was a cheerleader for 2 years. She was also a big sister for our Top Cats elementary school dance team. She was a mentor to the younger girls Jade touched lives from kindergarten through adult. Wyatt Kirkland, a sophomore at Carrier Mills, said he and Winston went to the prom together last spring. Jade was like a sister to me, and her younger brother Jordan is in my class. This just seems like a bad dream. I keep waiting for her to walk through the front door. Today was a very sad day at school. Everyone seemed to have a shocked look on their faces. Anyone with pertinent information on the case is asked to contact the sheriff's office. They didn't give the area code out there. But, you know, I mean, I'm not even going to read it since there's no area code. It's pointless. A memorial trust fund for Winston and her half-brother, 22-year-old Jerome Mitchell, who died early Sunday morning of injuries resulting from a single vehicle accident. Yeah, so that's interesting. Single vehicle accident over the weekend in Harrisburg has been established at the Bank of Marion. Jerome Mitchell, a graduate of Carrier Mills High School, was a coal miner. He had most recently worked for American Coal Company. Jade Winston worked at Arby's in Harrisburg. Visitation for both will be from 9 to 11 Thursday at the Carrier Mills Elementary School Gymnasium. The funeral will immediately follow with the Reverend Only Williams and the Reverend Carl Hewlett officiating. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, what a nightmare for the family. All right, then on the 25th here. All right. A week has now passed since the shooting death of Jade Winston, and authorities have yet to call the shooting a homicide, much less make any arrests in the case. Saline County State's Attorney David Nelson said Friday that when he knows something new, he will release the information. Earlier in the week, a spokesman for the Sheriff's Department said interviews have been conducted and that the investigation continues. Authorities are also requesting that anyone with information that may assist should call a phone number with no area code. Winston was 18 years old, Carrier Mills High School senior, responding to a 911 call. Police found her body at 11 p.m. August 17th in an apartment at the intersection of West Russell and Mill Street in Carrier Mills. Doesn't really look like an apartment, I guess, but maybe it was a rental or something. An autopsy report performed in Evansville, Indiana, revealed that Winston died from a single gunshot wound to the head. Why'd they do it in Evansville, Indiana? Is it on the border? Let me see. I don't really understand why they did the autopsy in Indiana. I mean, it's right over here. Maybe that was the closest big city, maybe. But it's weird because it's a totally different state and, you know, jurisdiction and everything. Hundreds of friends and acquaintances of the family from all points of southern Illinois descended upon Carrier Mills grade school Thursday morning for the double funeral. Winston's uncle, Don Wilkins, said the family appreciates all the support it has received and is praying that the case will soon be resolved by the police. Echoing those sentiments were Wilkins' fiancée, LaWanda Nicholson, who asked the media to push the case and not let it fade. That's the brother's fiancée, right? All right, then, you know, it wasn't a lot in the newspaper for like 3 weeks or so. And there was just one of these little updates. County Sheriff's Department Chief Deputy Todd Fort said Thursday that tests on gun residue in the Jade Winston murder case have not yet been received by the department. The newspaper incorrectly reported in its Thursday edition that the tests had been received. Okay. I mean, so obviously they were doing residue tests maybe on herself. Okay, shooting investigation moves slowly in Saline County. This is October now, another 3 weeks later. Tips from the public are being sought in a continuing investigation in the shooting death of Jade Winston, 18. Winston died from a gunshot wound to the head August 17th. Her body was found by Saline County Sheriff's deputies in an apartment complex in Carrier Mills. Officials have not ruled the death a homicide, pressed charges, or made any arrests. State Attorney David Nilsson was asked late Tuesday if anything new had developed in the case. No, not really, he said. Well, I just don't have anything to say about it. There is a criminal investigation going on, as there is about a lot of things. Nelson referred further questions to the Saline County Sheriff's Department. Saline County Sheriff Keith Brown said the department hadn't received any information producing leads from a tip line or from a MySpace page. MySpace is an internet website. It was Facebook before Facebook. I'm kind of shocked, actually. I mean, MySpace, it was actually a good name and everything, and it just didn't make it. And then Facebook got it, and just MySpace just went. Pow. Yeah, MySpace went just like this, just like the super chats on this channel. Yeah. Anyways, Saline County Sheriff Keith Brown said the department has received any information. Okay. We got really frustrated in this case in that we weren't getting any information, said Chief Deputy Todd Fort. Just like any crime, there is someone that knows something. Fort said the tip line was set up anonymously so that tips received could not be tracked back to callers. It is not something we're going to stop, but we do have this level of frustration, he said. We're still waiting for the majority of lab tests. Fort said the test results would involve a great deal of firearm testing. Deputies are asking the public once again to call anonymous tip line, and they're just giving out again there's no area code. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, area codes were everywhere in 2007. There wasn't like, maybe in that small town they didn't, everyone just had the same ones, they didn't care. The Saline County Sheriff's Department MySpace page can be reached by visiting www.myspace.com. Alright, then about 4 months after that, now they do finally rule it a homicide here. Death ruled a homicide. Mary Miller sobbed tears of joy early Thursday evening after a 6-person jury ruled at a Saline County coroner's inquest that her daughter, Jade Winston, 18, of Carrier Mills, had died as a result of homicide due to persons unknown and not by suicide or accident. After the decision was read, so that means their gun had to have been found right next to her, but based on the information and maybe the angles of bullets, the gunpowder residue, everything like that, it didn't suggest that she killed herself. But somebody may have made it look like that. I'm just so happy right now. She told the media a few minutes later, I don't know who did it, but I knew in my heart that Jade didn't kill herself. She had too much to live for, Miller said. It may take a while, but justice is going to be done. Winston was found dead in the apartment where she lived with her sister and a friend, so she actually lived there, at 714 North Mill Street in Carrier Mills by Saline County Sheriff's Deputy Jared Campbell. He was first on the scene after responding to the call late in the evening on August 17th. I looked through the mini blinds and could see the bottom part of her legs with no sign of movement, Campbell said. When I got inside, Miss Winston was lying on her back and there was a pool of blood nearby. Campbell testified that ammunition to a pistol was resting in the left hand of the deceased. Yeah, see. There you go. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Who does that? So there was ammunition to a pistol was resting in the left hand of the deceased with the firearm, a 9mm automatic handgun, under her left leg. So in her left hand, she has ammunition, and then the firearm's under her left leg. Nobody's still holding bullets in their hand if they're killing themselves, right? You kind of just load the gun, and you're, it's just somebody was trying to make it look like, probably maybe even taking their own fingerprints off by putting, smearing them in her hands and then making her fingerprints all over the bullets. I mean, I don't really know. It's just really, that's really odd, though. Fort said that based on how the body was contorted, he ruled out suicide almost immediately. So it was also based on how the body was. It was just an odd position to be in if you were to shoot yourself, and some depression, but nothing to support let's see. If you shoot yourself, Winston had some depression, but nothing to support taking your own life, he said. Ford said there have been no arrests in the case. More than 70 people have been interviewed about the death, and 6 were subjected to polygraph tests, with nobody failing. He added that Winston's neighborhood had been canvassed twice, but the investigation, now a murder investigation, continues. Also testifying Thursday were crime scene specialist Jack Rother with the state police and Dr. Mark Levon, the pathologist who performed the autopsy on Winston at the Evansville morgue. Both agreed with Fort that Winston's death did not appear to be suicide. Miller said she is firmly convinced her daughter's death is tied in with the death of her 22-year-old son, Jerome Mitchell, who died 2 days after his sister as a result of a car crash. I think their deaths are connected, she said. It's in God's hands now. I mean, it seems that'd be a ridiculous coincidence. Coincidences happen, but they're not, you don't accept them right away. I mean, just like in the Brian Laundrie case where, he's in the same town, he kills his girlfriend, but there's 2 other girls that were murdered, and he was in the town the same day and even talked to one of them. and he has nothing to do with this. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So. All right, now we're on February 21st now. Winston murder case investigation continues. Saline County Chief Deputy Todd Fort said Wednesday that 4 people, 2 men and 2 women, have been interviewed this month in regards to the Jade Winston murder case, but those that were interviewed are not considered by authorities to be persons of interest. Fort said 2 more interviews are scheduled with police who were previously interviewed. It is an ongoing investigation, he said. This case has been very frustrating. We have some unexplained issues. Information has come slowly to us, but it is coming. We'll eventually get the information we need. Fort said officers are constantly running down rumors, but a lot of what we get is just stuff people have made up, he said. Late last month, Saline County Coroner jury ruled Winston's death a homicide, but by unknown means. The Carrier Mills teen was found dead August 17th in the apartment. She resided with her sister and a friend at 714 North Mill Street. She died from a gunshot wound to the head. All right, so that was 2008, 21st. I mean, it had more coverage than, I mean, here's, I've said this before. The truth is that minority murder cases are covered at such a ridiculously lower rate. Okay, for example, I can just tell you right now, if this same exact girl was blonde hair and white and pretty, just like Jade is, it would be on the front page of every paper, would have made it outside of that area, would have been all over the place. People would have just been covering it and covering it and covering it and covering it. It would have made a big splash on YouTube, and Facebook would have been talking about it every 5 seconds. And that's just how it goes, right? And it just sucks, right? So I will say that there was more articles in this one than you typically see. A lot of times there's like one, and then it just fades away, and you don't ever see a damn thing again. I mean, we did a case. It was just right in the middle of this town. All these other murders. I mean, it was brutal, like this. But the woman was black, and there was like one little tiny article, and we still went over it just based on what there was. But man, I swear to God, if that was the reverse, I'm not into like the whole, I just know, you guys know for certain, since I've been doing this, the disparity and the difference. It's a massive difference in coverage. And, I understand not covering every single gang shooting and stuff like, because there's just so many of them. But when you have an actual murder with elements that are, they're different than just some drive-by shooting, you got to be covering it. They got to put articles in the paper so people can look into it, and it creates interest in it. Yeah. Yeah, and it makes it tough. It's sort of like the indigenous women. It's hard to even cover a story because there's so little information that reporters even put out there to then be able to go through and put it together. You get what I'm saying? All right. All right. So this is 2010 now. 3 years later, death of Jade Winston remains a mystery. This is just on, on the internet now. Winston, 18, of 714 North Mill Street, Carrier Mills, was found dead in her residence at 10:54 p.m., August 17th, 2007. So we can put that here now. (10:54 p.m. 714 North Mill. Yeah, it's just the reality. I think it's like that everywhere, though. It's not just the United States thing. It's just it's a worldwide kind of garbage. So it was August 17, 2007. After a neighbor reported hearing a gunshot, just over 24 hours later, her brother, Jerome Mitchell, died in a single vehicle crash at the intersection of Old State Route 13 and New Route 13. Well, let's see where that is. I don't know. I'll try turn the bots on Zozo, but it just doesn't. Nothing seems to help anymore. It's just, All right, so here's 13, and when they say Old Route 13, I wonder if I don't know. I wonder where that is. Maybe it's still listed if I go Old Route 13. Oh, I guess that is that. Oh, there we go. So either right here or here, although that's not an intersection. I think it's right here. This is where the accident was, right here. So this is where the car accident was. Of Jerome Mitchell. Yeah, there we go. Have you guys heard any pops or anything, or clips on the audio? I haven't heard any yet. So it must have been right here, probably. Yeah, it's interesting. A single car accident, I don't think it's the other one because the other side, it doesn't actually, it doesn't, there's no intersection of it. It ends here and then 31. So I think it's this one over here. So that's where Jade worked at the Arby's right there. And just all within a day, you have 2 people that are family members that die in this area. Thanks, Zozo.
Let's show our support for all graders free.
Yeah.
Ocean Wave.
Nobody has been arrested in connection with Winston's death, which was ruled a homicide by a coroner jury over 2 years ago. We're still seeking closure, April Scales, Winston and Mitchell's aunt said. The investigation is still open as far as we know. Officers found Winston in the floor in a large pool of blood, I mean on the floor, in a large pool of blood and body tissue. Jeez. The clip from a 9mm semi-automatic pistol was found in her left hand. So the clip, not just the ammunition. And the weapon was found under her leg. The gun was reported stolen from Raleigh several months before. Yeah. The Sheriff's Department assigned 2 investigators to the case. Deputies Mike Jones and Todd Fort spent a great deal of time talking to potential witnesses, reviewing evidence from the crime scene, and trying to look at the evidence from fresh angles, Sheriff Keith Brown said. Yeah. Thanks, Amber. Come on, everybody. Let's, we gotta, I mean, I don't know, I don't mean to make it weird or uncomfortable, but I hate even bringing up the super chats and stuff, but we were doing so awesome. And I know everybody goes, oh, it's economy, but, you know, it just seems like I'm going to be doing these 3-4 hour shows, and I'd like to be able to raise the same amount of funds to support the channel and the charities. Even if it's less, it'd be great, but it's been ridiculously less. Like, we're talking, last month, we actually brought in $3,000 less than the month before, okay? And that is, you know, that's a ton. That means that's why we only able to donate $2,500 last month, total, right? And the month before, we did $4,000. The month before that, we donated $5,500 to charities. So I don't want to just start fading into oblivion where we turn into the other channels who don't do shit, okay? Now, if you want to, go ahead and go over there and support them. They're not going to give a nickel to anybody, okay? So it gets really frustrating, to be honest with you. Every night after the show's over, you go over to these wacko channels covering the same shit every night, and people are just sending, and it's like, here I am trying to do the right thing, covering every single night, different cases, and it's like, you know, doesn't, very frustrating. That's all I can tell you. Hey, thanks, Sarita. It's like a shit show, basically. Nobody's been arrested in connection with Winston's death, which was ruled a homicide. We're still seeking closure, April Scales, Winston and Mitchell's aunt said. The investigation is still open as far as we know. Officers found Winston on the floor in a large pool of blood and bloody tissue. The clip from a 9mm semi-automatic pistol was found in her left hand, and the weapon was found under her left leg. The gun was reported stolen, so that's interesting. She obviously wasn't the one that stole it. She's responsible, has a job. Hey, all right. Sleuthing sandals. All right. Officers found Winston in the... Okay, so the Sheriff's Department assigned 2 investigators to the case. Deputies Mike Jones and Todd Fort spent a great deal of time talking to potential witnesses, reviewing evidence from the crime scene, and trying to look at evidence from fresh angles. The Sheriff's Department has given polygraph tests, called in to the Illinois State Police crime scene technicians, and even the FBI to look at the evidence. Jack T. Nolan, a former detective with the Department of Criminal Investigation reviewed the case thoroughly for the state's attorney's office, but investigators remain stymied by the case. We do believe there is someone out there with a piece of information that may shed some light or give us guidance, Brown said. Thank you, Eugenie, not Corvallis, or not Corvalli. Yeah. We do believe there's some, yeah, of course, I mean, there's always somebody that knows something, and the piece of evidence is, give us a name. The Sheriff's Department has not had any leads in a while, but officers never close the book on cases like Winston's, Brown said. It's not unusual for someone to come along that sheds light, Brown said. That's something, maybe a new piece of evidence, someone who comes forward with more information or new technology that reveals a facet of the case that was not available before. Family members and authorities, you know, hopefully they still have that clip, because if somebody put that clip in her hand, there would be touch DNA on that. And even the gun, you know, placing the gun, there must be some other person's DNA on it. Although that would just mean that they had handled it in this case. We basically have a murder among us, Scales said. We all know, all we know is that she's gone, but we don't have anything to help ease that fact. Brown said anyone who might have information related to the case is to call, what was the area code again? It was like 613 you set up above there? .618. So 618-252-8661. Hey, thanks, Sleuthin' Sandals. Alright. Where are we at now? So that was 2010, August 17th. Man, I don't know. This might be the same
Blue Heart, Australia.
article, but let me make sure. No, it's different. Let me open up that again. So this one starts off after 3 years, and then this one starts off. Okay, it's a little different, so I think it's got maybe some different information in it. 3 years ago today, 18-year-old Jade Winston was found dead in her Carrier Mills home from a single gunshot wound to the head. 7 family members and a large number of nieces and nephews have languished since, with no leads conveyed to them from law investigators concerning the unsolved case, said Winston's aunt, April Scales. It just seems this case has been forgotten about and just been swept under the rug. There's been no justice, no closer, and no resolution. You mean closure? Is that what they meant there? Meanwhile, there's a murderer among us, Scales said. Saline County Sheriff Keith Brown did not return a voice message left in the phone Monday. No arrests or grand jury indictments have been announced concerning the case. Hey, thanks, Jana Mitchell. Or is it Gina? Jana? I think it's Jana. That's what. I have a cousin named Jana. Now, what was that? Okay, I wonder if that department has a cold case department. Yeah, well, we're covering it right now, and, you know, we should. You know, why don't we call over there or something? I mean, it's like, people should just bug these people. You know, families are what a lot of times keep cold cases alive. It sounds like they've been doing a pretty good job here, the fact that there's even this many articles. But it doesn't sound like they're doing much, you know. It must be a hard... Having somebody else's DNA on the gun merely means that the other person handled the gun. I guess if there was only 2 DNA profiles, hers and that other person, well, that would necessarily mean that the other person is the one that placed it there, unless that person, you know, that placed it there was actually wearing gloves when they put that in there, and then there was somebody else that handled it. Yeah, it just gets confusing after a while. Thanks, Cami Nielsen. Okay, it's just seems this case has been forgotten about and just been swept under the rug. There's been no justice, no closure, and no resolution. Meanwhile, there's a murder among us. Saline County Sheriff Keith Brown did not return a voice message left on his phone Monday. No arrests or grand jury indictments have been announced concerning the case. Hey, thanks, Marianne, Bobani, Eli, Bobani, Manny. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. I know the times aren't the greatest, but, you know, we got a mission. We got to get to that 100,000 to charity and DNA fund this year, right? I guess that's the new mission now. Okay, family members have wanted to pool their resources and hire a private investigator. They have considered soliciting help from television shows dedicated to solving true crime mysteries. A year after the homicide, Brown said in an earlier interview, his apartment had received ample assistance from the Harrisburg and Carrier Mills police departments, and federal agencies had been contacted, but nothing has materialized. I look at these cases as puzzles. Well, they should be able to do something with cell information too, to figure out, you know, who was around. Was there any cell? Because it's such a small town that a data dump there would be meaningful, where you could figure out, like, was there a cell phone that was in the area and then left? I look at these cases as puzzles. You never know what pieces will lead you to the next one, Brown said at the time. What complicates the case is another element of tragedy that befell Winston's family in the immediate aftermath of Jade's homicide. Her brother, Jerome Mitchell, 22, was killed 2 days later in a Harrisburg traffic accident, single car. Well, that's a little bit weird. That's a single car. How does that even happen? I mean, in that spot. Let's go take a look at that again. You know, now that we know the spot here, you look at this and you go, he died in a single car accident. Where? You know? Maybe somebody forced him off the road, or there was some other, I don't know. That's a really strange one. I mean, there's a little bit of a ditch there, but come on. Scales said she and other family members believe there was a connection. I mean, that's not hard to believe. I mean, we're talking the next day, really? You got to lower it to a different... but you guys, I haven't heard one pop or click since the show started. I think I might have got the right driver in there, because now I can put this really high megahertz for the quality. Anyways, I'm just wondering. Yeah, no really pops yet. Oh shoot, there we go. I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I haven't heard any yet. There was a little bit at the intro part but that's something that OBS does all the time. Yes, it said. Well, who said that though, Jana? Do you want to? Are you the relative, Jana? My nephew Jerome was going to pursue those or someone responsible for Jade's death. Oh, well, that's interesting. So that guy. So Scales said she and other family members believe there was a connection. My nephew Jerome was going to pursue those or someone responsible for Jade's death. I believe he was run off the road, Scales said. So there you go. Oh, you got two sisters? Let me here's what we should do then. Let me I'm gonna get Zoom So you can call in. You don't have to be on video or anything, but you can call in here in a minute.
Recording in progress.
Alright, so let me just get the numbers, and then I'll finish this up, and if you feel like calling in, you can. Oops. All right. So I've got the number in there. So in a minute here. Oh, you're their sister. Okay, wow. I'm sorry you're having to go through this. My nephew Jerome was going to pursue those or someone responsible for Jade's death. I believe he was run off the road, Scales said. She said a passenger in the car survived the accident. Huh. But later told authorities he had no recollection or how or why the accident occurred. Oh, that's interesting. That's weird. I wonder if the passenger himself had something to do with something. She said according to accounts given to her from law authorities who questioned the man, he was walking around when Jerome picked him up. Then they apparently did not know each other. I don't know, man. That's just so fishy. Mitchell had been drinking that night, slipped out of the house, and had gone to confront someone about his sister's death, she said. There was also hearsay evidence of an acquaintance of Winston making threatening phone calls to her about 2 weeks before her death that centered on boyfriend jealousy. But no tangible evidence ever materialized, Scales said. I mean, that's one of the most common murder situations right there, is the whole jealousy thing. If I can't have you, nobody will, right? I mean, Scales said the family has pulled together to share their strength. Is there any connection with the guy that was in the car to anybody else in relation to the case? Was the guy that he picked up connected to, for example, the boyfriend or the ex-boyfriend that was jealous or whatever? Scales said the family was pulled together to share their strength, and Winston's case remains unsolved. What pains them greatly is thinking what Winston had in front of her, a high school diploma and perhaps a scholarship opportunity to play volleyball at John Logan College. It's been a nightmare for us. It's just like an open wound, Scales said. And then this is the, I'll go through. This is the true case files on truecasefiles.com. You know, this isn't like an official site, but they do, and I've seen this site before. They put tons and tons. It's like a huge blog, you know. Next, I'll put that on the desktop there. So Jade Winston was 18 years old when she was found murdered inside her Carrier Mills, Illinois residence on August 17, 2007. A neighbor called Saline County Police shortly before 11 p.m. that evening to report hearing a gunshot coming from Jade's apartment. Officers were sent to the scene, where they found Jade in a pool of blood with a single gunshot wound to the head. A 9mm semi-automatic pistol was found under her left leg. The clip from the gun was found in her left hand. I guess they could, what were they trying to say? Like a bullet was in the chamber, even though the gun was, the clip was out of the gun, there was still one in there. I mean, I'm not even sure how that, I mean, that's definitely something that can happen. But it sounds like based on the contortion, her having in her hand, it just didn't make any sense. Investigators immediately began searching for Jade's killer. Meanwhile, Jade's family barely had any time to grieve before another tragedy struck. Jade's 22-year-old brother, Jerome Mitchell, was killed in a car accident just 2 days later. As investigators were checking out the alibis and questioning people about Jade's death, her loved ones were mourning the loss of 2 beloved family members. Early reports about Jade's murder investigation stated that detectives received help from several agencies and had looked into numerous potential persons of interest, but unfortunately they were unable to officially label anyone a suspect. Investigators reportedly looked into hearsay evidence about an acquaintance of Jade's making threatening phone calls to her just 2 weeks before her death. The threatening calls were allegedly centered around jealousy involving a boyfriend. However, the acquaintance has never been publicly identified, and investigators were unable to materialize any evidence from the alleged phone calls. Other than that, very little information about the case was released to the public. Then, 3 years after Jade's murder, her aunt, April Scales, was quoted in an article that provided a few more details. In the article, April said that she and numerous other family members believe that the deaths of Jade and Jerome are connected. On the night of Jerome's car accident, he reportedly left his house to confront someone about Jade's murder, April explained. Jerome was going to pursue those or someone responsible for Jade's death. I believe he was run off the road. It is unclear who exactly Jerome went to confront that night. There was a passenger who was in the car with Jerome at the time of the accident. The passenger survived the accident, but he told investigators that he did not remember how or why the accident occurred. Oddly, investigators also told April that this man and Jerome apparently did not know each other prior to that night. The man told investigators that he was simply walking around Harrisburg when Jerome picked him up. The accident happened shortly thereafter. Investigators have not stated whether or not they believe Jade's murder and Jerome's death are connected. God, it makes you wonder if the guy forced his way, like basically got into that car somehow for someone else and figured out a way to... what was the cause of death, actually? I'd like to know what the cause of death was in Jerome's case. Investigators have not stated whether or not they believe Jade's murder and Jerome's death are connected. Jade's case remains open and unsolved. If you have any information that could lead to Jade's killer, please go here, it said, and submit a note on this tip. And I guess here is the Lake County, Illinois, Lake County ill.gov Form Center / Sheriff's Office. I'll put it in the chat here if anybody knows anything. There you go. So there you go. There you have it. So let me, if you want to call in, let me get the numbers on the screen here. Go to a different screen like this one. There you go. And you just pick if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, Central, and then you just dial the phone number for that. Then you enter the meeting ID, which is 868-2625-8363, and then there's a passcode, and then you come in there, and there you go. Blunt trauma to the head. See, that could be anything, you see? See, blunt trauma to the head is one of those things where the other guy wasn't even driving the car. And then just switch seats. Like he takes the car, he's in the car, and he puts his seatbelt on, and then boom, knocks it into the ditch or something. Do I have the right spot there, by the way? Do you know exactly where the car was or anything if I go down to the ground? And then you put him in the driver's seat, and then you sit there and go, oh man, yeah, wow, this is weird, I don't know. I wonder how well they investigated that. They probably just looked at it like an accident and didn't even kind of check it out to see if it made sense. All right, so sisters, if you want to call in, that'd be great. Anybody actually. Okay. All right. I mean, I can also send the link to it. So hold on. Just an invitation, like if you have Zoom on your cell phone, you could. Oh man, that's not it. Hold on a second. Copy in the link. There we go. And if I post that at the top. All right, so there you go. It's the pinned message up at the top up there. You can use that. And it's just a direct link on Zoom on your phone. Yeah, I mean, I don't remember it. That guy has something to do with those other people. I wonder if they've ever tried to connect the person that was in the car to any other person possibly related to Jade's death. That's what I want to know. Oh yeah, okay. Well, here we go. We got the phone lines are open. Yeah, you can try. You can use the link too. You don't have to have your video on the screen or anything. Yeah. He's gonna remember. And by the way, why would he just pick up a random person? People quit picking up hitchhikers a long time ago. What do you mean it's not working? What's it saying? Have you tried that link? Hit that link that I just put up there. Yeah, I think I got the right one. Yeah, there it is.
Hello?
Oh, hello. Is this Jana?
No, this is April.
Oh, it's April. Oh, you were actually in the article. Yeah. You got to turn down the audio in the background and just use your phone like you're talking to somebody.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You got to turn down the audio in the background and just use your phone.
Man, my audio is good though. I can. You there? No.
Yes. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. So maybe you could tell me more about what you guys know.
Well, thank you for covering this, first of all, Gray. This is the first time I've ever been on this show, on this channel. And...
Well, no problem. Well, we cover all kinds of... there's so many cases out there that never really get discussed. A lot of people just cover the really important, the big ones, for views, and I think all of them deserve and to be covered. So what, maybe you could tell us more about, like, sort of the inside information, because all we have is the newspapers and, like, do you know anything extra? Or?
Actually, I do. I'm very closely connected. I am the person that's in the article. I am the aunt of both Jerome and Jade. And I have something I would think that need to be considered that you hit on about this guy in the car with my nephew Jerome. And you said, you know, blunt force trauma was what they indicated that he had passed away from. But my question is, they stated that my nephew was ejected from his sunroof of a Chrysler 300. And my nephew laid with not a single scratch on his body, not a smidge of grass stain on his shirt. He was without pants.
Wow.
There were so many things that were just...
So he wasn't even in the car. That makes it even just more suspicious.
Was ejected from the sunroof.
That's what they claim, right?
Yeah. That's what they claimed.
Yeah. And he has no marks. He just almost like miraculously flew through the sunroof, right?
Exactly, through the sunroof. It had a white T-shirt.
What kind of vehicle was that again?
A Chrysler 300.
And it did like a specific one that that would have a sunroof?
It was the new model for that year, you know. He had, but they said it had barrel rolled, and they drew out the description of a barrel roll. Our family was up at the state's attorney's office and the sheriff's office almost on a daily basis until my mother, who was in her 70s at the time, was still working, was being harassed and followed by the police to her job that she worked midnights at. This is a very rural community. As you mentioned, disparities as far as what's covered.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. But imagine that on top of being in a community with very little diversity, no representation of any other population on your forces, in your service providers or health services, barely education. There's just so much of lack of, and also lack of even hearing.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Hey, Janet, can you turn down? You got to turn down your audio in the background.
Turn that down.
Yeah. Okay, we can't. Hold on 1 second. April, we can't really hear you, April, because Janet's phone was. Okay, there you go. Could you keep going on saying what you were saying?
Okay. Even as far as you stating that, do you believe that they had investigated that crash scene, or I could clearly say no.
Yeah, no way. Man.
That because when we saw the car, they immediately put it in a wrecking area that was tarped up. They were hiding the vehicle. And when we finally got a glimpse of this vehicle, it looked like it had already gone through a smash machine, like it had been smashed. It was mangled. Okay, I've never seen. My nephew was ejected the sunroof, so they claim.
But do I have the right spot here on the ground? By the way, in my video, like that.
That's not the actual. That is not. I believe.
They said it was the intersection of this road, the old highway.
Old 13, new 13.
Yeah, that's exactly where this is right here. There's
okay.
Yeah. So if I move to, well, let me do something. Can you see? I guess you're just watching the show, right? But this is old 13, and this is old 13, and this is 13. However, it does kind of go over here, where this is old 13, and here's 13, but they don't really intersect there.
Where do you see IYC? Can you pull up the or Lover's Lane?
Oh, is it called that, or is that just what people call it?
No, that is the actual road, Lover's Lane, or it comes into 13.
Let's see. Oh, that's way over here. Yeah. Yeah, I see that, but that's like 745 east. I mean, it's way, in the west part of the town. That doesn't match
Oh,
what
no,
was,
that's...
yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, well, this is where it is right here, see? I mean, this is what you were just saying, Lover's Lane, and here's 13.
Yes, okay.
What are you thinking about that?
Lover's Lane goes into 13. And you can turn right or left onto 13.
Okay.
At east, he would be in the field to the left.
Okay, but that's not where they, in the papers, they said it was old 13 and 13. That's not right? Because here's old Highway 13 and here's 13. They said it was right at the intersection.
I'm looking right here. I just don't see where that is. It doesn't look.
Okay, let me go to the place that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And go to the, let me just go to here. And then you tell me if, does that look kind of like it here more? Or,
yes, that is it.
huh.
Yes.
Well, if that's it, I mean, that's crazy because that's not what the newspaper said at all. But, okay, we'll put this alternate car.
Go right. Keep going right, panning to your right.
Okay, just a second, let me. Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's it.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, okay, so I'll just mark that spot, but that's crazy because that's nowhere near where two different articles mention, because it's way over here. I mean, way over there. Like it's
and
probably.
I bet you IYC was located over there by where you're at.
Yeah, it's 10 miles away, where they put it in the paper. It's not even close. So I'm gonna keep a mark on both of them, but. Anyway, so I mean, the location isn't really, in this case, for the wreck, probably isn't as important. I mean, where was he heading from? Do you know where he was prior in the evening?
They said Carrier Mills, and Old 13 runs to Carrier Mills.
Okay, yeah, Carrier Mills is right over here.
7 miles, and you can take Old 13 to Carrier.
Okay, so let's see. Old 13 is this road. Right here.
Yeah, they put new highway up. I know that, but
yeah, I don't know. Doesn't it just does it come down here or something? I don't know how that would work to get to Old 13. But anyway, so he they say he was ejected, and the car was mangled, but the other guy just looked great.
Away miraculous.
I don't know.
And the police that they saw the accident from Lover's Lane, they just so happened to be there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So they actually said they watched the accident?
Yes.
Well, that's crazy because that's not even...
Not because there was a free line. They would just so happen to be waiting. It's just so many...
Yeah, but not only that, it's not even... The newspaper said it was 10 miles to the east. Let me unmute Jana now. So Jana, you can unmute it was just making a lot of noise, so I couldn't hear April. There you are.
Sorry.
You there, Jana?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jana.
So basically where they say he wrecked at was like a mile up from Lover's Lane where the old 13 and the new 13 connect. So it was by Lover's Lane, but it was like a mile up.
Although, so they meet again at some point?
No, they the road used to be closed. Like old 13, it closed. It ran off. So basically, it was a curve there, and they're trying to say he ran off the curve into the field.
Mm-hmm. Let me I'm trying to find where Old 13 was. It doesn't even. I mean, a mile.
But it's right. It's by Lover Lane.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe
the police was supposedly on Lover's Lane at that stop sign and watched him wreck.
That's what this road is here. This old. It's called Old. Well, that is it. I didn't even realize that, but it says right there, Old State Route 13. It also crosses a second time right here. So there you go. Okay. So more right in that area, and that's literally almost exactly what you just said. Not quite a mile. It's 0.35 miles, but yeah, it's right there. So, who's the guy that that maybe called her a few times. I mean, you don't have to say his name, but like, was it an ex-boyfriend or what? She that he called her and threatened her.
So I mean, it's the people that was living in the apartment was me, Jade, and this girl named Jory Crawford. It's supposed to have been Jory Crawford's ex-boyfriend that came, I guess, supposedly looking for her, but Jade was there. But that's who been the person of interest ever since it happened, and that was the place that Jerome was last seen at, leaving Jason Curtis's uncle's house in Carrier Mills right before he wrecked.
So you actually lived in that house there. With
Yes, and I came. Jade had came and got the car for me 30 minutes prior to me getting home. So 30 minutes from her getting the car for me and me getting home is whenever all this took place.
So what do you mean she got the car from you?
She worked at Arby's and I had worked at Walmart, and they was right across the parking lot from each other. So she had got off work a little early, so she came and got the car. She said she was going to go home, change clothes, and come back to pick me up from work. When I came outside, Jory was outside and not Jade. She said Jade was laying on the couch watching High School Musical.
Okay, so in this video right here, is this Walmart right over here? Or this one over here? No, there, let's see. It's in Harrisburg, right?
Yes, it's in Harrisburg.
So is this not where the Arby's is? I don't know if you can see it, but there's
No,
Arby's.
that's the apartment that we lived in.
Well, no, I think you're probably delayed a little bit. But like on, is the Arby's on Highway 45 over there?
That's it.
Over here, and so where's the Walmart? Right.
The Walmart used to be over there where Royal King is. It's Royal King now.
Oh, I see. Okay. Usually those don't change. Okay, yeah, there it was. Boom. All right, that makes sense.
And then where the highway where Jerome wrecked at, they redid that highway, so it's like you're not going to see the exact location.
Oh, I can get it for you though.
Because Poplar turns into 013 now.
Yeah, hold on. I can get it for you. So let me wait. This is 2007, right?
Yes.
All right. So here's August 2000. Oh, I see. Yeah, totally different. It curved around like that.
Yes.
So yeah, it was totally different. Let me turn off streets so we can just see what it looked like. Yeah, there you go.
Well, no, that's where Walmart is. That's not where the wreck occurred.
No, you're way behind on your.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just let it sit. I'll just let it sit on the screen because this is actually August 2007. This image right here. So we're looking at something that's in the same month. I mean, literally, she died August 17th. This image here is August 2007. It's the same month. I mean, literally, it probably looked exactly like this right here.
Yeah, it did. I can see the curve. That field right there is where they saying that Jerome wrecked at.
This field, the field north of
across the street. Across the street.
Okay, is it the right of this other street? See how there's that road that goes up to the north? Is it the field to the right of that?
So it's where that curve is. It's in that area where that curve is, and then the other street cuts off.
All right, I'll put like an A, and then I'll put another pin over here. And when you finally see it, you can tell me which one.
Right there.
Okay, so is it the A position or the B position there? All right, I got two different pins.
See, I'm behind y'all, so I don't know which one.
Okay, you think it's A then?
It's up there. Yep, A.
Okay, so it's in the A position. And what direction was he heading in that? You
know, that's.
You don't know?
He was on the single road coming around that curve.
So he was on like right here where my mouse is, coming around like this, and then so he was heading west. Is that what you think?
Yes, he was heading.
No,
he was heading west.
No, he's headed east. Off that single road.
When you say single road, which road are you talking about?
Yeah.
Which road is it? The one you're not talking about? This main highway road? He was on a different...
So where the pin is A, that's where he was. So no, he wasn't coming off the main highway. He was coming off the other highway.
Oh, that's weird because the road actually dead ends right
Yeah,
there.
it ends. It ends. Yes.
Oh, weird. So I wonder if that played a role.
So he was supposed to go around that curve to the new highway, but he didn't make it around the curve. Supposedly that's where he ran off the road at.
Oh, so maybe like right over here or something.
Yeah.
A little bit further over, maybe something.
Yeah.
Okay.
His car was actually in the field though, not on the highway. It was actually in the field.
Yeah. So let me. You know, what we should try is go to Google Maps, and because they a lot of times have historical information. So we could go to what's the name? And they have historical street view. So we could go to Harrisburg, Illinois. Yeah, there it is, right here. And then if we, let's see, where is that? Yeah, there's 70. I think we're right, almost in the right spot. Yeah, that's the. Well, I think this is the old 13 right here. So I'm just going to go down to Street View right here. But right here, I think I can go back. Look at that. It's 2008, so it's got to be close, this one. Or did they fix it right after that? Oh, man, it looks...
I don't recall when they fixed it.
Shoot. Here, let me try this one more time. I got to... Okay, right there, and then...
If you go back 10 years, it'll just show the old highway. It won't show the new highway. So if you go back 10 years,
that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, I'm trying to get to. That's what I'm trying.
Like if you go back to 2007, I mean 2000. Just go back to 2007. 2000.
Yeah, they only go back to 2008 on here, but I think this might be where he went. This turn is what he was supposed to go on, and then he went straight ahead right there. Okay.
Right there.
Yeah. And then this is July 2008, and he would have gone down here like this, and then they didn't keep driving, but apparently, but why would a field like that make a car flip over a million times and then eject somebody? It's just flat, you know, it's not even...
Right.
Wow. Yeah, okay. And they said that they were just hanging out, and well, by the way, if the accident was there, I don't know how they could have seen the accident happen.
Right.
As a matter of fact, let me go take a look at that. We'll just pretend we're them. And so this is Lover's Lane. I think that's the 745 East here. And we'll go. You said that they were parked right there, I guess. And then if we go to 2008, there we go. So apparently they just saw way down there somebody.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess it's technically possible. It was not even a quarter mile away. I mean, a little over a quarter mile. But all right. So, but I mean, there must be some inside info. Like, do you know anything about the ex that called and threatened her multiple times?
No, I don't know too much about that. They do have him on video camera that he was at a McDonald's at supposedly the time that it happened. I know that they questioned him like once or twice, and then he wasn't questioned anymore.
When she was shot, right?
Yes.
And so apparently the way that it is, there was no witnesses at all, like as if she was home all by herself, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go, now that we know where she got the car from you and then drove home. So can you explain that part again? The timing of that?
Yeah, she came into Walmart. I had like 30 minutes, almost 45 minutes left. I was actually going on my break, and I was trying to tell her just to hold on until I got off break, but she said she had plans and that she was just going to go home and take a shower and she'll bring me back the car. But whenever I got off work, she wasn't the one there to pick me up.
So she drove all the way home. Like your car was at the house when they found her, right?
No, Jory was in the car. Jory had left in the car to come and pick me up.
Oh, I see. So she drove the car home, didn't want to wait for you. Then you're another sister, is that right? Or brother? Or who was Jory? I don't know who Jory is.
He was just a friend.
Okay, so he or she, is that a he or she? I can't tell by the name. Yeah, so she was there, and then after Jade got home, she then drove all the way back just to get you, right? And then you come home, and then something happened to her just in that little bit of time.
Yes.
Because when did Jory leave the house?
She had left the house because my uncle had came to the house. When my uncle had got to the house, he said Jory had just got out the shower and Jade was on the couch watching TV. So shortly, right after Jory got dressed, she came and got me.
Mm-hmm. And then where was your uncle during this time?
He left right before Jory left.
Okay, so Jory saw your uncle leave, right?
Yes.
And then Jory takes off at, must have been, when she picked you up, did you come straight home? Like it just boom, boom?
No, we didn't. We stopped at my friend McCanda's house. We picked McCanda up because me, Jory, and McCanda was going to go out. So we picked up McCanda on the way home, and then after we picked her up, we came straight home.
Okay. So then that sort of makes it a longer period of time where something could have happened. Well, did they know? Did they know like the time that it actually happened based on forensic information? Like,
I don't remember if they said it or not. I know that Jory had left the house like around 9:45. Well, about 9:45 when I came out of Walmart, Jory was outside. It was between 9:45 and 10 o'clock because I was actually supposed to clock out at 10. And then we picked up McCanda, and then we was in Carrier Mills, right when we turned on Carrier Mills Blacktop, someone called the phone and said that Jory was just shot, and we was like, what? And then when we pulled up to the house, though, like all the police was already out there. It was already taped off. The ambulance, everything was already there.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, what time did she pick up the car from you?
Jay picked up the car for me at 9:30.
I mean, is it like right at 9:30? Do you remember precisely, or is it like 9:23?
I know for a fact. It was between 9:15 and 9:30. I know for a fact it was between that time frame.
Okay, 9:15 and 9:30. Then let's see. She drives home. How long does it take to get from Walmart to where you guys were living?
Like 10 minutes.
Okay, so she gets home at 9:40. Let me put that over here. So she gets home at 9:40. I'm going to say arrives home like 9:40-ish. We don't know exactly. Then how long was she gets home, and when she gets home, how long was it before, was it Jory you're calling her?
Yes.
How long before she took off?
She left right around 9:45.
So literally she gets home and just minutes later she takes the same car and goes and picks you up now.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And let me put that in there. So, and then Jory, how do you spell that? Like
Jory.
JLRY?
JORY.
Oh, okay. Jory leaves at 9:45. Okay, so it leaves at 9:45, and then what the uncle had left at... Well, here's the thing. How did the uncle get to see her watching television?
Because he came in. He was dropping off a movie for her to watch.
Okay, so she gets home at 9:40, and he brings home the videotapes almost the exact second she gets home, watches her put the tape in, and she's already just sitting. I mean, I'm just throwing this out there because, I got to have everything make sense. Home at 9:40, goes into the house, and your friend leaves at 9:45, but
yes.
But the uncle left before she left.
Yeah, he literally just came in and dropped off the tape. That's all he came for.
So he just came in, dropped off the tape, and she was so into it, she started watching it like the second she got home.
See, she was watching High School Musical. I think she was already watching a show on TV, but he dropped off some tapes for her to watch as well. But she was already watching a show on TV.
So maybe she got home at 9:40, threw something down, started watching something, and maybe it was a little bit later than 9:45 that Jory took off. Right? I mean, you know for sure it was 9:45?
I know for sure when I walked out of Walmart, she was already in the parking lot to pick me up, and I clocked out right at 10.
Okay. So she could have left at 9:50 and got there just before you got out the door, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that gives it 10 minutes because it's like there's a lot of stuff that was going on in that little tiny 5-minute window.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so Jade's sitting there. Let's see. Jade's sitting there, and then the uncle comes in, hands her a tape. She was already watching something, and they saw her watching television. They remember that. Then Jory heads out at like 9:50, goes over to the Walmart. You clock out, and then you get in the car, and then you guys go do something else, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not trying to sound like an interrogator. I'm just like, I just have to have, when I do these timelines, I try to get everything
right
where it makes sense. So that makes more sense right there. All right. So then, wow. Then who was the one that reported that something happened to her where there were police, medics and everything on the scene already?
I think this girl named Carrie Gully is the one that called Jory and told Jory that she heard it was gunshots and that Jory was shot. And about 5 minutes later, that's when we pulled up to the apartment, and the police was already there.
Mm-hmm. So you know who made the original call that there was like gunshots and maybe to go?
No, they said it was one of my neighbors. I don't recall who it was.
I see. So neighbors called in. I mean, that's crazy. So what time you got home at? What time? Like to see all these people, like 11 something?
Yeah, no later than 11.
Yeah, because 10:54 they say is when the shot was or something. That's probably when the 911 call came in, something like that. God,
yeah, and it was like within 10 minutes that the police was already at the apartment.
And was there anything on her? Did she look normal other than she was posed funny, and there was I mean, it just doesn't make any sense that she's sitting there watching a movie,
right?
And then moments later, after people leave, she would shoot herself and have like the magazine in her hands and all this stuff. She was just kind of.
So I had a gun in the house, and it was actually put up in the entertainment that was in the living room, but the clip was never inside the gun. Mm-hmm. The magazine was already out. I never had it inside the gun.
Okay, but it's your gun, right? That was found and everything.
Yes.
Okay, so it's your gun, and then you never put the clip in it, and then somehow, what are they saying? I mean, how would the clip have gotten out? Are they claiming that there was a bullet stuck in the chamber? Maybe.
That's what they're trying to say, that it could have been accidental, but they never told us for sure if that gun was fired. They never told us for sure if that was the gun that killed her or anything. They just said that they found the gun in the house, the clip in her hand and the other part under her leg.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's obvious that, even after the coroner went through everything and examined the angles and the way she was laying and all the elements, they determined it to be a homicide. So,
right.
At least you've got, that's an amazing win just to get that. Because if they ruled it undetermined, then they're even more lazy. It's like, yeah, well, we don't know, but we got other things we got. But this is a homicide, so it puts a little bit more pressure on him, like quite a bit more.
Right. The state's attorney at that time still treated it as an accidental death because we had went up there several times to get the case reopened, and he said that it was self-inflicted and that they was not going to reopen the case.
Oh, so even after the ruling, he's saying that?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No. But he's not the state's attorney anymore. Actually, the state's attorney at the time, he's deceased now. Okay.
Well, maybe you can. Have you tried getting it re-looked at with the new attorney?
No. Well, she's has mentioned that she was going to look into it, but there hasn't been anything done yet.
Oh, you guys gotta like pressure the hell out of them. You know, that's the thing is, I mean, like you could do shows like this. You just go around, just keep putting it out there, and you just gotta make it so that they can't not, you know, like they have to look at it. Right. I mean, there was another case a while ago. It was a case called the J.D. Fickey case. And, you know, I mean, that case was ruled a suicide. So we're in the same realm here. It was ruled a suicide. But when I looked at all of the information and the videos that are out there, even the guy, there was a guy that actually said he had his hand on the gun, and then somebody else pulled on the gun, and then it shot this other guy. And they still called it a suicide. It's like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's just, so I made this whole video, put it all together. Then I sent it off to the coroner, and then probably, I don't know, it seems like 4 or 5 months later, I got a phone call, and they said they changed it to undetermined. You know, so at least it got out of the suicide realm. You're already in the homicide realm. It's just
Right.
nobody's doing anything with it.
Yes.
So, what do you guys have planned? Do you have anything planned to? I mean, was this just totally random that I was doing this? I mean, I just randomly found the case, and I thought I would look at it, and it's interesting.
I mean, we had talked about trying to get it reopened, but no, we have not done anything.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I mean, I'm just going to ask a couple other questions. I mean, like the uncle, has he been totally ruled out of anything?
Yes, he has.
Okay. I'm just asking because he was the other one that was there. God, that's so crazy. So who do you think? Well, I guess, I mean, you have ideas, but you probably don't want to say names and stuff like that. But
I think it was Jory's ex-boyfriend.
Oh, you do? And what would make him want to hurt her?
There was really no connection to why he would have hurt her.
Mm-hmm.
He could have possibly came to the house looking for Jory, but the main reason why I believe he's had something to do with Jade, because that was the last place that Jerome was seen at, was at leaving Jason Curtis. Supposedly there's an altercation between them, and 10-15 minutes later he's ran off the road.
I see. Can you help me out? Let's get those locations on here. Do you know anything about general?
I know that Jason Curtis' uncle lived right down the street from the apartment that Jade was murdered. He lived on Mill Street.
Oh, okay. So the same street even. Okay. So you're saying...
the same street.
Okay. So somewhere on Mill Street, how close to... I mean, was it, how far away was it, you think? Couple blocks or...
Probably just a block. It wasn't that far. You could see the apartment from his uncle's house.
Oh, okay. So Jerome was actually there?
Yes. The next night after Jade's murder, that's where Jerome was before he went to Harrisburg. Well, I can't. How am I supposed to put her in? I'm on the phone. Kayla.
That's amazing. I mean, so he was right there. How do you think you just took this one road here? This let's see, what is this thing? He probably just took this straight road from here, and then got out on Highway 13. Well, no, because how did he end up on that road that you guys are talking about?
So we had a cousin named Jamie Ellis that lived on that road. Supposedly after Jerome left from Jason Curtis, he stopped at my cousin Jamie's house and knocked on the door, but they didn't come to the door. Mm-hmm. His girlfriend Lindsay, by the time she came to the door, Jerome he already took off. Okay,
so that makes that other guy even weirder now.
Exactly.
So this other guy was just randomly near your other cousin. Was it cousin you said? What was his name? Just say
Jamie Ellis.
Okay. I don't know where he lived, but it must be on this road here, right?
Yeah, it's on the old 13.
Yeah, there you go.
It was on the single.
Yep.
Yeah, so he lived on that street.
Jamie Ellis, you said?
Yes, Jamie Ellis, and his girlfriend at the time was Lindsay Cross.
Okay, so he goes over here, and then somehow he ends up with this guy he doesn't know in his car.
Right.
And then he crashes. I don't know, man. Man, there's a lot of weirdness in this one.
Yes, it is.
And let me get the other name. So you said it was Jamie Ellis, and what's the other name?
Lindsay Cross.
Okay, I'm just putting him in on the map. And I don't know where it is on this street, but old Highway 13, it could have been not too even far away from where the wreck happened, right?
Yes, it wasn't that far.
Okay.
Because that's what they was trying to say, too, is that Jerome was going so fast that he ran off the road, but there was no way that he could have been going as fast as they said he was leaving Jamie's house.
Yeah. God, I'd like to try to do something to help you guys somehow. Maybe we'll put our heads together and try to figure out how to bug some people to get something going. Investigation, It just seems like it's just been languishing around, doing nothing.
Yes.
So anything else in there? Let me see. Do you have any questions you guys got out there in the chat? Let's see. I don't see anything. I was just trying to put it together. I think what we have is that, she was at home, and then she came. Well, I guess she was at home when she got killed, but she was actually prior to that. She was working at Arby's, and you guys normally drive. You drove her and dropped her. How did that work? To go to work?
we normally had 2 cars, but one of the cars were down. So she actually got a ride to work.
Oh, she got a ride to work. Okay.
Yeah, someone dropped her off at work, and then we were supposed to ride together home from work, but she wanted to go ahead and go.
Okay, so she got off work at 9, right?
Yes.
And then she walks over there, and then at 9:15, she gets your car. And she said, well, I'll just send Jory over to pick you up. I'm going to head home now. Or something like that. No, you were supposed to do something with Jory. So she was just going to drive home, and then Jory was going to take your car and pick you up. But anyways, at 9:15 to 9:30, she takes off. So it could have even have been 9:15, and she got home at 9:25. And that gives a lot more time where she's at home. So she gets home at, let's say, 9:25 to 9:30. Over here, she's... walks in the house, maybe does something for a few minutes, and the uncle shows up, gives her a CD to watch or something, a movie, and Jory's there, and then she takes off at 9:40, 9:45, goes and picks you up, and then you guys go hang out with another friend somewhere, right?
Yes.
Right, and then something happens to her between 9:45 and 10:54, an hour time frame.
Yes.
God, it's wild. And nobody around there had surveillance cameras. That's probably before Ring doorbells, 2000.
Yeah, there wasn't any surveillance cameras. There was a few neighbors that said that they did see people run out the house. I mean, a lot of stuff was rumored too. So.
But almost everybody has cell phones back then in 2007. So you'd think they'd be able to do something like a cell tower data dump where they can see any cell phones that are moving. A lot of people are in their homes at that time of night, but there might have been a phone that was moving.
Also, back to the guy Jason Curtis, that was Jory's ex-boyfriend. He was at the crime scene too when everybody was out there when my sister got killed at. Whenever my brother Jerome came to the crime scene, Jason Curtis was talking to my brother. He was trying to tell my brother that Jory did it. He just kept saying Jory, everything that he had to say has something to do with Jory.
Oh, he was trying to throw it on the girl that broke up with him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeez, that makes him seem a little bit guilty. That makes him suspicious at that point.
And then supposedly the next day, where my brother wrecked at, he was out there at that crime scene as well.
That's weird.
Yes.
I mean, he just shows up at the scene when the cops are there, or what? How did that work?
Yes. Yes, he was.
Okay. Interesting. Man. Let's see. Well, maybe... I don't know if you can I give you... How about if I give you my email address, and if you come up with more stuff when you're just sitting around, you can send it over or something like that?
Yeah, mine April has pretty much everything that we had. Todd Fort He's actually the police officer that was the reason why they ruled her death as a homicide. He's no longer a police officer, but I have spoke with him many times about it too. And he's always told me that he's willing to help out whenever.
And what's his name?
Todd Fort.
Todd Fort, huh? Okay. Man, it's interesting too. You know, there's such a small window and a few different people, and you know you might be onto something with the individual that you think it is. But doesn't it also feel like the guy that's in that car has something to do with something?
Yes, yes, it does. It does,
Yeah.
because whenever it happened, I know that there was a police officer, like, we wasn't able to talk to him. And then whenever we finally found out who he was and able to get a hold of him, which was months later after the incident, is whenever he told our family that he didn't remember what happened. But prior to that, we was not even able to contact him in any type of way. We didn't have his information. We didn't have anything. Like, we just could not get a hold of him. And I know Jason Curtis, the guy who I think done it, his uncle is affiliated with the police. He's like a nephew or something. Like, they're family with the police officer, with the police in that small town. That's the downside of being in a small town where everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. Well, man. So the guy that was, do you know the name of the guy that was in the car?
Yes, his name is Luke. We do have his name somewhere. We do have that information. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say it's Luke Pickering, like last name Pickering, but I have to double check.
Okay. And he claims he doesn't remember a damn thing, but I mean, he'd have to remember something. I mean, but somehow he's in a random person's car then, because he doesn't remember everything.
Right. At midnight.
Yeah. And he didn't even know. I mean, let's see, what's his name again? Your brother?
Jerome.
Jerome. He was at a cousin's house, and then he drives down the street, and all of a sudden, there's this random person in his car right after the cousin wasn't home. He gets in the car, and he drives away, but somehow there's this random person in the car, and then there's this big accident, and he gets flipped out of a sunroof. But the other guy is just fine, you know, other than, oh, my head hurts, and I don't remember anything. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense, I got to be honest. Something's not right there. And then you want to know if you could somehow connect him to any other person. That would be a pretty significant development. If you could find a way, like, who's he friends with? Is he friends or an acquaintance with any of the people that are connected in some way to, Jade being shot? You know, that would be interesting.
Right.
So, all right. Well, I know I don't mean to keep you on so long, but I appreciate you calling in and giving us some information. And maybe what we could do is we could think of more, like we could come up with questions or something. I'll make a community post and people can write on there. So like on YouTube in the community section of my channel, there's going to be a post, and then maybe you can come on and answer questions, or it'll just be a place where people can ask questions, and then maybe we could do a follow-up or something.
Okay.
This one seems like it should be, like Amber said, like it should be solved, you know?
Right. I think, yes, I think that if someone took the proper time to look over things, I think that it could be solved. I don't think it's just like a mystery. Like if you hear the story, nothing makes sense. So that one little thing that we could connect with, I think it could be solved.
I totally agree. Okay. Well, let's see. Jana and April. I appreciate you guys. I think she fell off the screen there. I heard it disconnect. It is Jana, right? Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a cousin named Jana. I think she spells it the same way. But I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and, working through. I didn't mean to come across as some interrogator. I just wanted to get the...
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's whatever it takes.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, though, and I can tell that you really want to get answers, and I appreciate your honesty and your just willingness to say what you remember directly, and it feels like you're saying exactly what you remember and what you saw. So thank you very much, and we'll have to do this again.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
All right.
Thank you. Bye. Yeah. Wow. That was crazy. Wasn't really sure. It's hard to, come up with. I don't know the situation as well, but right now I feel like I know it a lot better than at the beginning. I can tell you that. It's. I heard the audio pop on there, but it always pops on Zoom. So, what do you guys think about that? I think the really interesting part was getting to really get the specific information and the timing of various elements here. So Jade picks up Jana's car at 9:15 because she was dropped off at work at the Arby's earlier by somebody else and didn't have a car because it was down, I guess. So then she got off much earlier than Jana, so she goes over and says, "Hey, can I drive your car home?" And knowing that their friend Jory was going to go pick her up anyways later, so then she drives home, and then when she gets home, she gets in the house, and then an uncle shows up with a movie that she apparently, she's starting to watch. Something was already on TV, and then gets another movie, and then when Jory was leaving, she noticed that she was still watching TV, that Jade was still watching television, and then she takes off and picks up Jana at the Walmart, and Jade works at the Arby's that was right next to it at that point, but now it's not the Walmart anymore. And then when Jory goes and picks up Jana, they go visit some other friends or, hang out with somebody else. And then later on, they come driving back home, and there's all kinds of rescue people and police officers and everybody around here. Then another crazy... Hey, thanks, Ellen. I try to ask, questions that are actually relevant, not the sensationalistic garbage, right? So that's where, the incident occurred right here in this house. Right here. And also, you guys, this will be my another... Oh, look at that. Thanks, Liz Marie. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. But if anybody else would like to help out, it'd be great to have a good night tonight to make up for some of the other nights that we've been having. So thank you very much, Liz Marie. Because we do good stuff in here, especially with their charity work. And 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. I got in there. Thank you very much. Any amount helps, you guys. So even if it's like $1, $5, $10, whatever it is, it helps out the channel and the charities at the end of the month. And during the month sometimes. Mention that perhaps Jory was the intended victim. That they know Jory. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's definitely possible, right? That Jory may have been the intended victim if they believe that Jory's ex is related somehow. Then that's definitely possible, right? Because then it's... well, he goes over there and he's angry. And maybe he blames Jade for the breakup. You know how that works sometimes, like you have roommates and they're all like, "Oh man, that guy's no good," and then they blame the person that got dumped, blames the friends of the person So it could be that too. Thanks, Georgina Stoliker. That was interesting seeing the difference, wasn't it? When you went to Google Maps with the historical view. I thought that was pretty cool. We didn't even say look at maps. Hey, thanks, Lil Andy. Very cool, very cool. And thank you very much, April and Jana, for coming on here. I think we're going to try to, if you guys can send me as much as you have, like in emails, like really the other timeline information, because timelines are usually the most important element, you know, other than the forensic stuff going on at the scene. But as you can see, as we were putting this together, the timeline, how it really starts shaping, you know, the way your mind thinks. Did you notice that? Like this little window of time. You get it down to that hour, and then it seems like at that point we're sort of lacking information. Yeah, you know what it almost feels like to me? That he had blunt force trauma. And I mean, it's weird though that the police said that they saw the accident happen. I mean, I guess it's possible, right? I mean, but like, what are the odds of that? I mean, why would they lie, I guess, is another thing. You know, like, why would they just make that up? But what I'm saying is the accident could have happened, but you know, it could have been totally staged. You know, like maybe, I mean, he wasn't even in the car. How do we know they didn't just put him in the field, you know, and then, like, I don't know. I don't even know, like, just wheel the car out, like, with the throttle on, and it rolls out there, and then he acts like, oh, you know, goes out there and sort of stands next to the car like he was in it too. I don't remember anything now. I mean, it doesn't sound like they investigated that at all. They just went, oh, wow. Yep, there's an accident. This guy died. Get the tow truck, everybody. Case closed. Yeah. Yeah. I when I was looking it up the other day and I saw that other death and that family think they're related. And, you know, as soon as you hear about it, that it's a day later, you immediately think that it might be related as well. But they really believe that, and I can see why as well. I mean, he was even in the area to try to figure out what happened to his sister. So apparently, we're going to look at this again. Jerome, right? Yeah, so Jerome, let's just say that Jerome was down in this area somewhere, you know. Jerome questioning about death, about the shooting. Okay. Hey, thank you very much, Becky S. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we should have just covered Dylan Rounds again for 17 hours. Yeah. Very, very interesting case tonight. I wonder how the police and the ambulance got there so fast and even had it taped off already. Well, it sounds like that they had it taped off before they got there. Well, yeah, that's weird too, because they said they got there right at around 11, I think. Isn't that what Jana said, that they got there around 11, but the shoot 54? Yeah, I mean, I guess that is pretty interesting. I didn't really remember them saying lost his pants. Did they actually say that? Are any of you out there anymore? Jana, April? When he was ejected, did he lose his pants? Yeah, right. This is what true crime is supposed to be, where you're covering various cases. Everybody deserves something, instead of having the same PI on. That's just an absolute biggest mockery of a case I've ever seen in my life. And then people, for views and likes and subs, have a private investigator on that is so disrespectful to the true crime genre in general, and they just all sold their souls having that guy on. Unbelievable. It just, I want views. I mean, God, you know, it's just incredible. Some of the people that have had him on would just shock you. Unreal. So you thought that's what they said. I didn't really see that. Are any of you out there anymore? April or... Hold on. Yeah, Liz, are you still there? Do you remember what they said about that? About the pants? Yeah, it's sad, Amber. That's all it is. But that's okay. I mean, whatever they want to do, I guess. It's up to you guys whether you support it or not. They said he lost his pants. Okay. So did they say that, Jana, that he lost his pants as he was flying out of the sunroof, but yet he had no scratches or anything? Let me ask you this. How would you fly out of a sunroof with no scratches at all? I mean, the odds of that are 1 in a million. Now, you're still there? Yeah, the family was here, but I wanted to know what they were... Oh, there we go. So there's Jana. Hey, Jana, are you guys saying that he lost his pants as he got ejected out of the sunroof? His pants were off. Jesus, that's just almost impossible, man. And other than that, other than his head trauma, his body was completely unscathed, right? Hey, no problem, Charisma. Man, okay, now this is even weirder. I thought you guys were saying that about the pants. I just didn't remember hearing it. A lot of times I got stuff I got to get going on the screen. And nope, no pants and no scratches, teeth intact. Now, let me ask you this. Was the sunroof open at the time? This was August, so was it broken through that his body was ejected, or was it actually, you know, open, rolled down, or I guess? But either way, it's such a small sunroof. Just the sheer force that it would take to... Oh, they wouldn't do an... You know what? You should have him... I know it sounds shitty, but maybe somebody needs to exhume him and check it out. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, that might be one of your only options. Yes to what? What part? So the window was open. The sunroof was open, right? They wouldn't let you see the car. Why not? God. Why wouldn't they let you see the car? God, that stuff. Oh, that's a good question by Becky S. Where were his pants? Yeah, this is going to be a hard one to just drop. I think we need to start, like, making phone calls and whatnot. I'm gonna. Can you send me an email, Jana? Or let me put my email in here again. Just send me an email so I can get information from you to then contact specific people. Well, it's not their choice. I mean, you can have your family member exhumed now, right? This is really ridiculous. They wouldn't let them. Why? But they were at a... you could actually view them at the funeral, right? By the time the car was released, it was already towed away. What do you mean? What do you mean by that? The mom was going to pay. Yeah, let me ask you that. Where were the pants, though, Jana? That's what Becky S. asked up there. Yeah, I mean, if the pants weren't around, then there's something much worse going on here. Much more obvious, I mean. Oh, you viewed him at the hospital? But what about, they said that they were both at the, I don't remember if they said it was a high school, that they were both there to be looked at, like a viewing or something? So when you saw him at the hospital, he looked pretty normal, right? Oh, they towed it away to get destroyed. Pfft. They took it to like a wrecking company, right? Just wow. So you guys never got to see... There's got to be photographs, though, of the incident, right? When the police got there, they would have taken pictures. And anytime there's a homicide in a car accident, they spend hours normally taking photographs, measuring things, trying to figure things out. Doesn't sound like they did that in this case. Yeah, we already asked that, TTJO. I know that you heard me say it too, but now you're pretending that you... All right. You thought he was still alive, huh? Guess what? I checked my email. Guess what? I got an email for Dylan Round's case. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, that's cool. Apparently, just like we were saying, the James Brenner individual is listed as a person of interest. Anyways, it's not going to be all the other wacky stuff that everybody was saying. But they'll pretend that they were onto that too. It was said that the police ran him off the road. Why would they do that, though, I guess? There are pictures, but nothing up close. Well, why wouldn't the police, though, take pictures of the crime, the scene, you know? Whenever there's a death, I mean, my God, they spend, like I said, hours. You guys have seen that, right? Every time there's like an accident, it shuts down the highways. You know, they close down the road, have people waving cars by. They do all the measurements. They get all the photos. Not sure about the sunroof? Okay. I think, I wonder if Jana's on rewind a little bit. Rewind mode. Yeah, full investigation for a fatality accident. Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just, you know, so it's the local police department. Which police department is involved in this one, Gina? Is it the one in Carrier Mills or the larger one out probably in Harrisburg. I mean, I don't even know if Carrier Mills has a police department. It looks so small that it... Let me see. No, they don't have one. It's in Harrisburg. So I don't know how did they get there? You're right. I mean, now it's even weirder that they got there that quick. They do have a fire department there, though, which is just down the street, actually, on Mill Street. So here is the fire department, so that would explain how they got there so quickly. You know, maybe sending paramedics over from here. So we'll put that, mark that. It's a volunteer fire department, though. Hey, welcome, Brandy Taylor. Okay, so that's the fire department. They just would have came right out the door and then turned left right here on Mill Street, which, you know, after you take that left right there, you would just go straight down and, you know, short distance down the road there is the where the shooting took place. But why would they do that, Jana? I mean, why would they do that? See, anytime you go down the, when you go down that route, then people, I'm just telling you how it is, right? If you go down the cover-up route, then the police aren't going to want to help that much. But what you got to do is find somebody, we just want to know what's going on here. And maybe somebody out there will... Well, they'll help you just out of they wanting to know what happened as well. And if it turns out that it was a cover-up, then it is, but they usually don't help as much when you directly go out and tell them. Oh, really? Is that, so is Jason Curtis, is he the ex-boyfriend of Jory? Yeah, everyone's related. Okay. Tell me who Jason Curtis is again. Yeah, it's definitely how you got to do it. You can't go up to him and start saying, "Hey, we think you guys are covering something up." It just doesn't do anything. Yeah, it doesn't sound... Well, I think that's more just what we were talking about at the beginning. Sometimes, you know, it's just they don't... Okay, so it is Jory's ex-book. Okay. Alright. So I got that. And so you're saying he was also at the crash site, which is weird. Makes you wonder if... Do you think that it's possible that... shit. God darn it. Jerome was actually going to see Jory's boyfriend prior to that? I just heard the music click there at that time. So one little incident wasn't that bad. Yeah. But do you think that he was going to go visit... Ah, yeah, the names just don't pop right in my head. Jason? How about, what if Jerome was going to go talk to Jason that night? Doesn't that make some sense? Well, she said, I thought they said he was at the shooting and the car accident. Remember that? The state police was on the first 40 hours, and they took off. Yeah, so he was at the scene of both. Okay. And when you say at the scene, what do you mean by that? Like, he just sort of... he was there after the fact? Or people saw him right around the same time? I mean, it is interesting that how would he have known about, been right there at the car accident, and he's right there at the shooting? You know, the same, two different scenes, 2 nights apart, but apparently unrelated, and he just happens to be at both. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he was down here talking to somebody, and then he probably drove right up Highway 9 right here, went right through, right over the highway here, then took a right on Highway 13 Old right here, and then was going to go visit that other person. They weren't there. Somehow ends up with a random person in his car, comes flying down here and on the old highway. Oh, that's 1993. You got a 2000 and yeah, that one will work. 2005. So he goes. Let's see if that's even there. Oh, so that's not even there then. Let me go to 2007. Yeah, so that doesn't even. There's nothing even there. So if you drove up here, no, I guess that would still work. Yeah. So you're right here. And then he drives up this way with some random person in his car, apparently. Goes through the intersection, comes up here, goes and visits the cousin or whatever, was going to talk to them, and they just weren't around. And then somehow he drives down this road, comes flying down here instead of making this turn, keeps going straight, and then the car flips over 1,000,000 times. He gets ejected out the sunroof, losing his pants, and has no injuries on him whatsoever other than him hitting his head on something. Yeah. Oh, really? So Jerome did talk to Jason both nights. That's okay. That's not that good. Yeah, that's a good one by Becky. So how did Jason end up at the scene of the accident? Was his car parked somewhere around there? Hey, this account, she already called in. What are you talking about? She was on a call for like an hour. Now we're just doing more in the chat. Oh, you do have police reports. Can I have can you give me copies of those, or is that possible? I would like to have the police reports if you have those. Like you could just use your cell phone and take a really nice and level picture, and then either email them to me, or I can, if you send me an email, I can give you my phone number and you can send it. He had his own car, huh? Okay. So is his name in the police report? Dana Dane. Yeah, he just randomly shows. Oh, my email is right here. Hold on. I'll type it in. There it is. See, GRAYHUZE2 at gmail.com. It's in there 3 times. So do you have police reports for both incidents? Your sister being shot and the accident? Oh, she's going to do it? Oh, awesome. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, let's get going on this one. Man, are you kidding me? This is nuts right here. Very cool. Yeah, so have her send that to me, and then we'll go over those on the show maybe tomorrow or something. If you can get them to me tonight. Yeah. Yeah, if we can get all the police reports that you guys have, that'd be awesome. And I don't know if you have the autopsy report on your sister, but that would be helpful. Oh, she's got everything. Okay, great. Well, let's make something happen on this one. That's awesome. Yeah, Jana's in there. Just she knows everything. I guess so does April. I mean, she called in first, but she got off the call. I was hoping both of them would kind of banter back and forth, but maybe we can do another call. Like after we go through the reports, if we can get those, then maybe we can have another call where you guys call in, and then we maybe try to figure out more of what we're, take a look at that, think about what we're seeing, and then maybe strategize about how to get more done here. Yeah, no, it's like that. I had a brother pass away in 1986, and I remember every single bit of details. He died. He didn't die. Well, somebody gave him drugs, but he willingly took like a little coke or something. We don't really know for sure. His heart just started beating funny, and he died. But I remember everything of that day like it was yesterday. So yeah, it's weird. That's why it's strange sometimes when people go, I don't remember everything. I don't remember anything. I was in shock, man. For me, it like stamped it into my memory. Yeah. Well, I hope we can, like what Amber said, hope we can help you out. And I really appreciate you guys actually coming on and talking a little bit about it, getting more information dialed in. None of that stuff was in the newspapers, obviously. I mean, they don't really even care. They're just kind of like, yeah. Can you give me? Okay, yeah. Yeah, what time? Okay, great. See, it's weird. What you would think that they would get really into the details and the news, because that's how you get answers at some point. All right, so we've been on there for 3 hours and 3 minutes. I think that'll probably wrap it up. Do you have anything else, Jana? But if not, have April send that to me, and we'll go over those tomorrow if we get them. All right? So I think it'd be awesome. Hey, thanks, Brandy Taylor. Seems like Jerome was hit in the head in the wreck. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. Almost seems like, oh, he's got head trauma, blunt force trauma. Oh, you know what? We can make it look like the car accident gave him blunt force trauma. You know, I mean, if they didn't even investigate it, because what you do in a death investigation in a car accident is you would see, okay, this is where his head hit. We see blood here. Here's a little bit of hair. Here's where the injury was on the head. Okay, that makes sense. Then this and that, and everything has to make sense. Are you talking about me, Brittany? I was 20. He was 22. Oh, excellent. Thank you. Thanks, Kylie. All right, you guys, I'm going to call it a night. And I really appreciate it again, Jana, April, for coming on. And thanks everybody for supporting the channel. Been, you know, hasn't been awful, just not really that anywhere near what we used to be doing. But tonight was a decent one, at least. It was back in the normal realm. So I really appreciate it. But yeah, we're going to be, you know, like for example, let me just go through this again. This year, we've donated to Texas EquiSearch $5,000, the Innocence Project $1,025, the Wounded Blue Fund $500, this one called specialops.org, it's for kids, $600, RAIN, which is Violence Against Women, which might be appropriate in this one, $3,500, NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, $3,665, and End the Backlog of Rape Kits, $500, and another 500, I can't remember what organization that was. And then 8,500 in a DNA fund for identifying either murderers or Jane and John Does. Oh, that's your cousin. Wow. Thank you, this account, and Kylie Peacock. Yeah. And that's just halfway through the year, those numbers I just gave you. So thank you guys very much. Really appreciate it. Yes, and hit that like button and, you know, share the channel out there. So how's the look? Is it more clear on this show? Even though that's maybe not that good, it maybe shows all, you know, the marks on my face. And it's a little clearer though, isn't it? Seems like it anyway. Yeah, I mean, you guys are like warriors. The whole family, they're just really out there. They know everything. They think about it every single day. That's pretty amazing. They're not dropping the ball, you know. I don't know. I don't know if I like the setup or not. I'm just saying if it was clear or not. I might actually redo the entire thing at some point. You know, I'm sure it'll be similar, just more streamlined. I have like too many sets over here. All right, so we're gonna draw for I guess we'll do 2 notebooks. Okay, now if you're in Australia and you win, I'll have to send you a mug or something instead, because it's not, and it would be the free copy of the sketch, because that's almost the same price. It just, you know, the only thing it saves me is the time filling out the. I gotta figure something else out with the Australians. It's crazy though, what the cost is on the. Oh, you like it? Oh, cool. Alright, so thank you to Rhea Mazzarone, Boggle Queen, Kathy Freidenmaker, Amber Maiden, Being Nancy, Boston Actress, Titanican, Liz Marie, Dan Carr, Teresa Ann, Cami Nielsen, Zozo, Amber Maiden, Sarita, Eugenie, Sleuthen Sandals, Jana Mitchell, Jana Mitchell. I keep saying Jana. Where's the, Jana Mitchell, Cami Nielsen again, Mary Annie Bobani, Cami Nielsen, Mary Miller, The Velvet Army, This Account, Liz Marie, Georgina Stoliker, Lil Andy, Becky S. with the cat eye. Liz Marie was a cat eye as well. And then there was another one in there. Hold on, where is that? Maybe, I don't know, maybe that was it. And then Brandy Taylor, Kylie Peacock, Teresa Ann, This Account, and Kylie Peacock again, and thank you very much, April and Jana, for coming on. And short notice, if we could get those documents, that'd be awesome. We'll go back over it again tomorrow at the beginning. Go through all the police reports, try to put everything together even better. All right. And then also thank you on PayPal. Earlier it was Paulette Leonard. Then we had a Christine Babcock and the Velvet Army. Thank you very much. All right, now we're going to do the spin for notebooks. Everybody likes the notebooks. Who's got the notebook out there? Put double ones if you got the notebook and you liked it. It's pretty cool. I think people like the notebook. And then LM told me to try to, there's apparently a book rate. So I'm going to try that the next time. We'll see if that works. Awesome. You guys. So this is going to be for 2 days. That's why I'm going to do 2 notebooks. Oh, thank you, Jennifer Lee. We'll put that in there too. There we go. There we go. Oh, and thanks Dan Carr earlier. I don't know if I mentioned that. I see you. I see you. What's going on, Georgina? You don't like this song, do you? Is that it? Why are you zipping your mouth, Georgina? What happened? All right, you guys, here we go. So if you win the notebook, you gotta email me your address and I'll send it to you. All right. You ready? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, I didn't really. The Velvet Army wins one. If you're out there, the Velvet Army, do you already get a notebook? Do you want a notebook? Let me know what you want. The Velvet Army, you want a notebook. But I didn't shuffle it, but it doesn't matter because it's the same odds. Look out, I think I predicted that one. Oh, you have one spin again. Okay, so let me remove all those and then shuffle. So now we still get 2 more. Here we go. Well, thanks, the Velvet Army. Liz Marie! If you're still out there, Liz Marie, you won a notebook. And actually, this is what it is right here. It's what? Wait, where is it? Well, I'm not going to switch off the screen. I'll show it to you in a minute. Okay, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And here we go again. Look at that. Gwendolyn B. I think she was on here earlier tonight. But there you go, Gwendolyn B. You guys got to email me your addresses, and then I'll send it off to you. I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, I'll do another one since you guys are so great tonight. All right, here we go. One more. Melissa B. All right, there we go. Oh yeah, so here is the notebook right here. There it is. See? I'm using it to do my Part 107 test in here, but there it is. It has a pencil. You can I just rip the pencil out because I just use whatever pen is available. Come on down. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys very much for being here tonight. All right. Apparently, I did get something from. I got an email regarding a legit email regarding the Dylan Rounds case. Right when we were about to be done there, but it was apparently. It gets a little bit more in depth, I guess. Proposed residence employment or proposed treatment program. Blah, blah. I don't know. I'll take a look at it later. Oh, wait, here we go. Let's see. On June 21st, again, money by the rifle original owner, and he felt that he should have. Oh, yeah. Well, I think we already saw this thing, didn't we? I don't know if this is the same document. It seems different, like it's longer or something. But if it's not longer, then we've already gone over that same one. Okay, but hey, thanks to all the mods for keeping everything running smoothly. Thanks for all the new freaks joining the channel. Thanks for all the super chats and PayPals. Keeps us doing what we're doing and allows us to donate a ridiculous amount of money all the time. Even during the bad times, it's always good to, be able to give to other people who are, like these charities must be struggling dramatically, right? Because that's where it's like a lot of times it's hard to come up with, it's like, sending meaningful amounts of money to charity during times where you're struggling is hard. But if we can, by building up the funds on my channel supporting me, it allows us to donate a large amount of money to charities regardless of, the economic times. It's a big number. Like, I don't think we would donate $42,000 last year if it was purely hey, we're doing another fundraiser tonight. You know, it's like, I think people get burnt out, but when you realize you're supporting me to allow me to keep doing the show every single night, and then I, in turn, donate over 50% of the net revenue from YouTube to charities, then I think it's all, it's like an amazing sort of combination thing. But all right, you guys, we will see you guys tomorrow. And April and Gianna, make sure to send me that document. Maybe I've already got it. I don't know, but if you can send me those police reports, that'd be freaking awesome. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, peace safe out there. And a 2 and a 3 and
Hey, Granny, what's going on, man?
Thing for quite a while now.
Well, I just did a whole show.
Yeah,
what
during
about
this
you?
whole time, I have not seen
I don't know, man.
that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a
Certified human lie detector. Gonna get you on a stretcher.
Try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a puppet detector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have religion, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody, talk to you later.
Hey, Gray, thank you.
Yeah, great, thanks.
For what?
You know, the show. You didn't keep talking about the same cases over and over and over again.
Well, that is true. That is a problem in the true crime community. How people just play the same old song every single night.
Like you do with the rap, Gray? You always play that same rap every night.
Well, yeah, because that's forget it, man. That didn't even make any sense. All right, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. And as I always say, be safe out there. Oh, by the way, let's see if we can get something done on this case. Jade Winston.